just waiting for it to onto the stream, and there we go. We are released and running. I see the white mage already cruising over on Dengu's side, and it's another white mage.
Oh, but, alright, but that's pretty good.
Yeah, life 2, life 2. I'm not going to complain about it. This is all I hoped it would be. This is fantastic. Life 2 is a great spell. They got nothing else to use there, though.
But what they can do with this now is they can run around. They'll fail to run a lot because the white mage starts with a very low chance to run. But as they try to get to the subsequent times, they can just revive each other, get punched, revive each other until they run out of charges.
Oh yeah. If they can manage to kill even a couple of imps out front, gotta hope that the imps aren't overly charged on their energy. They could potentially get a couple levels, get like 3 or 4 charges of that Life 2 spell, and just be good to go. Now I will note that Caleb took 2 white mages extra for his party of 3 right now, while Danglu only took 1. So he's rocking a very slight party right now. Not gonna have a whole lot of Life 2 to play around with there.
Yeah, in the early game with Tavern mode, you're kind of balancing what does it cost to actually buy the characters versus having a full suite of them just to take hits, because you're usually trying to run, and all you need is more runners and more people to soak hits.
Elfland over here at the Provoca spot, so that's a nice swap for our Tavern switch right there. Got a red mage in the party now, swapped out one of his white mages for the red mage. Gonna have to go back to Quinaria, though, to get that Life 2 spell again. One of the things about Tavern mode is that it resets whatever character slot you're on to the level that the slot was at, with the full best stats that slot could have. However, it wipes away all the spells that character had, so if you buy a white mage on top of the white mage, they're gonna lose all the white mage spells you bought for them. And it unequips all their equipment. Not that that was a concern with this red mage right here. But that does mean that the Life 2 spell that he bought for his white mage is gone, although he now has a nice little red mage instead, and I don't think he's going to complain too much about that. Not much progress made so far.
Yeah, one thing to note is that Dengu's very low on gold, so even if you get back with this red mage, unless that Bane was like less than 20 gold, there's probably going to have to be some imp killing or maybe some adventuring to treasure chests just to get some magic to actually start kind of making use of that red mage.
Because I don't think either of them actually bothered checking the black magic shop yet. I certainly didn't see it. That red mage is going to be able to use it so long as he has the money, which at 23 he won't. Oh, you were saying Bane.
Slow yeah, and it's 80 gold though.
Yeah, no, he doesn't have any. Caleb, though, is going up to Batoya's, finds a cabin, 1,700 gold, another 93. That's magic
some
money right
cash.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And one of the other things I noticed in there is when they hit the weapon shop in the starting town, there were ice swords there. Red Mage can swing that. That's a nice sword to carry through the mid-game, and even if you never find a fighter, Red Mage is going to be decent enough with that to kill some imps, if nothing else.
Yeah, the main problem is that I think it cost about 18,000. It'll be a while before we have that sort of cash to spend on something that's not magic or like camping gear, for example.
What are you talking about? That's couch cash right there. We got the bottle over here from the king.
Well, hey, we could find an early Gaia. This is Town Shuffle, to emphasize that. We've already seen one of the shuffled towns. Gaia could be at the Elfland location, for example.
And honestly, with the fact that we already have a bottle showing up, I would suspect that's quite likely that we're going to see Gaia coming up here, either at Elfland or at Melmond. The second they get a ship, Gaia's going to be right within easy reach, I'd be willing to bet.
Yep. So with the particular flags we have on, free canal, free bridge, but only open progression, not extended open progression. You can't walk to Elfland. You need some kind of progressive item just to get there, either the canoe or the ship.
So Danglu here is actually suffering a little bit. He doesn't have the money to save at the inn. He doesn't have any saving items. He's struggling to get headway basically with all the monsters that are here. Can't quite make it over to Topher, and I think he wants to go check Toya, which he'll be blessed by because he has that cabin. Meanwhile, Caleb, who swapped out all of his white mages for red mages, because Life 2 was a red mage learnable from the look of it, he is rocking a full party, and he's going for his level 3 magic, trying to get level 3 nuke. I take that.
Alright, the red mages should get a charge for that. I want to say at level 6.
Yeah, it's going to be fairly early. He's going to have to punch some imps to get that, but long term, he's going to be just fine. I also saw Lock 2 in that shop. He didn't show us the white magic shop yet, but Lock 2 is a great spell. You may not think that if you played the original game, because Lock 2 was kind of crap there. But on the new, with the way the randomizer does it, they've done some fixes in there to correct the fact that houses, well, will actually properly heal you, give you full health, full magic. Of course, Tavern mode, as you saw, along with Temper and Saber and all the ones that you thought never worked in the original game, they all work now, and Lock 2 will have 100% chance to hit against the enemies you use. Oh! The 3 creep.
By the way, update on Deng. So Deng saved himself from that sort of possible soft lock where it might have been a case of restarting the seed. He made it all the way to the gold at Matoya and then made it back to Kniria. So We've got a safe party, we can save our progress, get Bane, start making some headway.
That's good, that's really good. And it looks like Caleb at this point is going to see if he can get even one cabin, but decides not to buy it. So he's going to just try and get this long walk. We are kind of in a stuck position right here because they don't have any good weapons to get any monsters killed. They don't really have any good spells to do anything. Although I would take that Bane and try and kill some imps personally. So they're struggling to make headway in this kind of a swamp of speed right now. Looks like the monsters are all tough and...
I want to say that Caleb is actually behind Deng now if he can't make it back alive to town, because Deng is saved with magic in a safe position, whereas Caleb has 3 magicless red mages and trying to get back from Elfland.
Yeah, the one problem with giving up that white mage right now is that he does. I'm not even certain he has the life 2s on him, but even if he does, he's not going to have as many charges as Dangwu did with his 2 white mages that he kept around. I can understand why Caleb did it. It feels a little risky, though. And unfortunately, the iguanas are unrunnable and he can't kill them.
Yeah, this just all goes to show how tough it can be to get a Tavern mode seed of this style off the ground when you're not given a full party to start and so forth. Because we need to also level, we need to find a way to kill Garland, get some early key items before we can really do a lot.
It's a swamp at the start when you get a seed like this, with our one forced party member that was the white mage, and then whites and reds being the only ones they could find. But thankfully, Caleb has managed to get back his buying, looks like fire 2s for his party. I'm not sure if he's going to go for all 3. All 3. So he may not be able to save, but... Yeah,
I was going to say, so this better be a successful imp fight, or else he's going to lose some progress here by not saving that cash.
Well, he's ambushed, and...
Oh, man, imps have paralysis touch, yeah.
No! Stun lock!
If someone doesn't wake up soon and get a fire 2 off, this is going to be bad news bears.
Yeah, I think he's going back to Provoca to do that run again. And there it goes.
Yeah, that's the danger of mismanaging your money in the early game. You just, saving is so critical. You can sometimes go into the town the very first time, buy too much magic, walk out, the imps have lightning too, and then you have to reset your game and reload your party, which is like a minute of time in the early game.
Yeah, I've done that before, lost about 5 minutes between the shopping I was doing, getting everything ready, even making my party that, and then one imp with nuke is all it takes to wipe you out, and suddenly you're back to having to try and run it over again. And he got stun-locked by those Grimps again. Meanwhile, Dangwu is up and running and already has the ship.
For what it's worth, Caleb has a sprite palette swap on, so those imps look like Grimps.
Are they just standard imps? Okay, that's fair. Yeah, he's got the fun percent monster palette swap on then. Imps are Grimps, though. Those guys are jerks right now. That's all I can say. Thankfully, it does look like about 6 or so fights in, the encounter table opens up to a nice long hero run. Good to know for later, also useful for now to make it back from Provoca.
Yes, and that's of note, the encounter rate is 0.6 in both Overworld and Dungeons, so 60% of the vanilla rate. The encounter table in Final Fantasy Randomizer is something that's generated randomly every seed. There will be 16 encounters in any particular area with a unique encounter zone that are fixed things that you can go to and then reset to move to subsequent encounters. You'll see them use that as they traverse the overworld and then later the dungeons.
So it does look as who has swapped out his 2 white mages for red mages after all, now that he's back here from Voka and doesn't have to stress as much. And from what I saw in the white magic, the best spell that was sitting there at level 3 was Exit.
That's actually
so far,
great.
No Exit. Exit's really nice for certain dungeons, and getting it this early actually makes it useful.
Yeah, there are a lot of dangerous dives that if you can make them one-way trips, things like marsh and ice, it's just so much less pressure when you have Exit.
I saw either Pro Capes or Pro Rings for sale there at the armor shop. It went by quick enough, Daewoo doing his master menuing, that I couldn't quite see which one it was.
So Garland was guarding our ability to progress. Sarah has the ship as your reward, so you needed to be able to power up a party enough to kill Garland to get anywhere.
And now that Caleb has the ship and is free to sail around, he's buying up all the spells that he needs at level 1 to make sure his red mages can survive a little while. Level 2 being red mage learnable is always nice to find. That's one of those great spells. It looks like the encounter table on the sea is not too bad at all.
Yeah, I haven't noticed anything too terrible. There's not like a bunch of back-to-back runs or sort of those runs that are too short to make use of for traversing.
It looks like on both sides of the table, we're finally getting some enemies on the board after killing Garland. I think Caleb actually has the level lead, and we've got Crescent Lake over here at the Elfland area. Was that a thief for sale at the tavern?
It just closed too fast for me to catch it. And speaking of fast, that is Red Wizard accessible in the Black Shop at level 6. Invis 2 will be locked out to Red Wizards, but it is learnable by White Mages.
So, eventually go back and get yourself one of those White Mages. That's the one nice thing about Tavern Mode. You never have to worry about, oh, I'm giving up this character, I can't do this. Adamant, we have found, and since only the towns are shuffled, not any of the other locations, we know exactly where that dwarf cave is. We can go turn that in from the sages and find out what our next key item will be.
Yep, and nobody's visited the dwarf cave for the treasure chests, so we'll be able to pick up 2 chests along the way.
I don't necessarily disagree with that. I like the treasures there, but I will if I have to, or if I can, because I think I'm going to get something else like this key item here. It always feels bad to dive in there for those 2 chests and then have to make a long walk back to Canary because there's just nothing there for you.
Yeah, it's not as much of a good play when you don't have extended open progression that lets you walk south from here.
Yeah, and only regular open progression is on the river systems that still block you on this map. I'm not actually certain why the players decided they only wanted open and not extended open, but they wanted it, and I let them have it, so... Oh. What was that we just saw from the Adamant guy?
That was the floater, and the floater is what will, in short order, we still need a few pieces of progression, get us into the air. We need the canoe, specifically, to get there.
I don't think
we cannot sail to it because there's no dock in open
we're going to double check this when the players get there, but I believe in open progression there is a dock there at the airship spot. I think I ran into this while we were doing one of the other tournaments that we've been running recently, and only the open progression was on. I'm fairly certain the dock is actually there.
Yeah, the veterans in chat are confirming that there is no dock in this flag set, so they will have to find the canoe first.
Well then, our players just get to look at that pretty rock and not be able to use it.
Ooh, those chain armors are nice. We got a little bit of cheap defense for which we've only gone with 1 copy of on Deng's side for our red wizards or red mages.
You only need 1. Only 1 red mage has to survive. It's Will Bloodworth strats there.
Looks like we're skipping right past the tavern.
Interesting. Maybe he's going to choose to walk back out in that direction and see what else is available. With an Opal Cheerio. Lovely.
Yeah, we have 3 sort of non-key items, 3 pieces of gear in the incentive pool today. Opal Bracelet, Masamune, and the Defense Sword, which are all nice to have at the end game, not needed to progress though, so the bottle was just a nice quality of life item.
However, to note, the Defense Sword actually will not necessarily be the Defense Sword. Item magic is on, so even though they'll get the sword, it could have any one of a number of random magic properties assigned to it.
That's a very good point.
It's one of those things, you love item magic when it gives you, Cure 4 or Nuke or something like that, and then when you realize that your white shirt is no longer in Viz 2 or your Defense Sword is no longer Ruse, it's like a Fire 1 sword, you're sitting there going, that's just a waste.
Yeah, the best thing you can say is when the defense rolls to anything else, it's still a pretty good piece of promotion wearable offense for ninjas, knights, and red wizards, but of course outclassed by many other elite swords.
Yeah, it's still a great sword to have around if that's what you have, but you still feel just a little bad about the fact that it's no longer providing that defense you wanted.
So we got Dengu picking up a thief at Crescent Lake, and that's actually not a bad idea. First of all, you've got as many mages as you're ever going to need. The thief can just sit around and help you run, or if the thief gets a few levels, well, there's buffs, and that buff thief will actually have greater hit percentage than a fighter in the long run, and be able to swing many times, for example, with a katana or a maza.
That is one of those things that we put in there. We have a fixed hit percent cap just for all characters, so that if they level up past the point where their hit percent would normally level cap out, like ninjas will have to do with the fixes we have in place, that no longer happens, so they can get full growth on their hit percent. And then thieves and ninjas feature double hit percent growth in this game, just to help balance them out a little in comparison to fighter, because otherwise the only thing thieves are good for is running and then kissing the ground.
Also of note, so we have black belts available at the tavern in Gaia. We don't want them now, but with tavern mode, what you can do is a very clever strategy where you can level up one mage, for example, by casting Nuke or Fade on a pack of enemies that's worth a lot of experience, and then swap it out for a black belt later.
That is true. You can swap out any of your characters at any time, and they'll get the stats they're supposed to get from being at the level that you have them at. Full stats, full magic, and everything else. You don't even have to worry about it. It's quite lovely.
So, diving Marsh for a loose incentive looks like a play they could make right now. We have an interesting mix of fixed incentives and loose incentives tonight. It's 2 to 3 loose. We don't know if it's 3 loose or 2 until we see the Titan's Trove, which you need the ruby to access.
That was one of those surprises I was gonna share later, but I have no problem with you sharing it now. Yeah, we have the ability to have what's called tri-state flags on, which means that the thing can be on or off, or a maybe that the game decides on and the players don't know. The only tri-state flag we have on right now is Titan's Trove. So they're not certain whether or not that's going to be an incentive location, and we think that's hysterical.
Deng might be diving Earth here with the exit that he just picked up, but ooh, Stone Poison Ogres stopped him on the way. But because he's got exit, he can go down, kill that vampire, and get the incentivized Earth chest, and then back out if he's able to survive that far.
That's one of those ones where I feel bad. Like, I know it's an incentive location, I know it's great to go check it, it still makes me feel bad every time when I have to go in there and do it, because it's like, I just want the rod. I want it there so I only have to do this dive once, but Dangu's gonna go do it from the looks of it. Although I think he's probably gonna check some of the other chests along the way first. Oh! Cure 4 Axe and a TNT. This Earth suddenly became very worthwhile.
That's very strong.
He's already, you could tell he was looking there going, did I really just get both those things? Do I just walk this out now? Because I kind of want to walk this out now.
Yeah, I might just take an exit right there and save that progress, maybe turn in the TNT. Like, you don't have to go through with this dive.
Yeah, no, I feel the running out of it at this point, even if it does waste a couple minutes, quote-unquote waste. Then you have that axe, you have that TNT, you can come back in and continue that dive, and you're good to go. He gets a buckler there, which, you know, you wouldn't think is all that impressive, but it's one of 2 shields the Red Mage can use, along with the Pro Cape. So any armor is good armor with a party this squishy.
We've got the user TNT175 in chat, possibly a little confused as to how Dengwu just picked them up in the game.
We like to include our audience in everything we do, and we feel it extends to the community now.
But yeah, we've got a couple of charges of nuke to get us down here, and we just need to get to and through that vampire to make this dive a full success for Deng. Running into a lot of ogres, though, and remember the ogres have stone poison, so we're gonna need some run luck.
I mean, it's one of those things that he's probably looking at it going, what can this dungeon really do to me that my nuke casts and my Cure 4 axe can't take care of?
We've got vanilla forced encounter tiles, so that was just an earth elemental as expected right there. There have been a number of other races recently with different kinds of forced encounter tiles.
That was one of those ones where we were sitting there going, do we do this? Do we give them something special that could be here? What if it's really bad and then it just delays them for a little while? We felt that for the sake of expediency for the marathon that we'll be running later on in October, SG Live, maybe don't put some of those more evil flags on, because then we could be there for 3 hours. And the loot! Oh, that's not progression right now, but that's progression for the end of the game. And he's got no nuke casts to get out of here. He's got
no exit, because the vampire went straight for the back row, punched the exit wielding and ribbon wielding user.
Oh! And he doesn't have life 2 right now. That sucks. He didn't buy life 2 again on his red mages, so he can't even bring the exit wielder back.
Fortunately, a decent number of heal potions, and the enemies in here aren't hitting too hard, so if he can just dodge those abilities, he could still survive a trip back out.
Danglu's showing us that even experienced pros still try to use houses in dungeons as well. It's not just you. Sometimes menuing is hard. We've all been there.
I'm hearing from chat that on Caleb's side we have damage poison Sahags out in the open sea. If that's the case, that's extremely frightening.
That is something you're sitting there going, okay, I need to run now. How long does the ship run work? Can I get through this? So while Danglu decided to go hit Earth Cave, Caleb is making the bold choice to go over to Onrak area, which he should be able to dock to. He wants to see what's over here and maybe get a leg up on Danglu, who potentially wouldn't want to come down here. He's making
on Town Shuffle. Yeah, you've got a chance for this to be specifically Provoca, I think is the one we haven't seen, which has great magic, accessible magic, and a key item.
Yeah, Bicky the Pirate's there. He's really banking on Bicky being somewhere good that he can get to, maybe get that canoe, and get what he needs. Plus, the monsters here are fairly tough. He's going to get some quick little levels for him that might make a potential Earth dive later quite useful. Nuke those Hydras, nuke those Ogres. Meanwhile, Danglu is back over at Gaia Melvin, Gaia Elfland.
And we do have Provoca at the Onrak location.
With Black Mages, he doesn't need those. However, he does like the look of that Ice 3, and plenty of money to buy it. Ice 3
Black Mages might be useful. There was a, it depends on which shop Temper was in. Temper was in Gaia, but I cannot remember which slot or shop.
Yeah, the Black Mage in that particular instance, you are correct. Fast was at level 6, I believe. Temper was at level 7. He might just want the Black Mage.
With promotion.
Life spell, that's nice at least. But yeah, but between those two, like, maybe just pick them up so he gets the extra charges.
And you see Caleb actually taking a save before talking to Bicky here. Normally the pirates are an easy fight, you just walk in and AoE them. However, the unsafe pirates flag is on, which means, like any random enemy, they could receive any script. And it turns out they have Xfer.
They have Xfer, but so far it doesn't seem like they have anything else to back it up, and then they punched like kittens, so I don't think we have to worry too much about that. And they're already gone. Easy level 10 for Caleb, and he's got the chime. So, presumably, TNT is the path to take to get that canoe. Right now, we're banking on Dengu having made the right choice.
And we're finally getting some pure potions so we can stop hearing the poison sound from Caleb's audio.
I mean, they were at Canaria. It's their fault for not buying them. Oh, and it becomes the crystal, so the fetch quest chain continues. TNT into crystal into what?
I mean, hopefully we can maybe... Well, no, not the herb, because we haven't seen... Oh, no, Elfland Castle is vanilla, right? Yeah. So herb would be nice, because what we want to do is get to 12 key items. At that point, there's an experience boost of 200%.
We're getting some shade thrown in chat because Caleb refuses to use his fear potion to cure the guy who's at 1 health. Oh, it's fun.
Now, Caleb has the option to take that chime, go dock at Mirage Tower, and clear that for loose incentives. I'm just saying.
I mean, I'd do it. That's a bold play right there. Go play the bottom 2 floors, go see what treasures are in there. I equate it to Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise, where the announcers are always saying how there's value in Cave Bahamut. I feel like the Mirage and Sky Palace are our Cave Bahamut. When you have access to it, you should go check it, because 9 times out of 10, the game has dumped something useful over there.
Caleb's so close to making that play. He's docking here on the north side to revisit Elfland, possibly fill out his magic a little bit more, but he could always go back from there up towards the Mirage Tower. Now, it's an okay play. It's not a terrible play because you will get good experience. You can nuke a lot of high experience packs in the first 2 floors of Mirage Tower.
Oh yeah, it's great for experience. There's good treasures in there. Overall, it's a darn good play. Plus, the likelihood is that there's something in there. I mean, I've seen on more than a few occasions where you only have the chime to you, that the cube is actually lurking inside of Mirage Palace. So progression to Sky is basically blocked inside of Sky.
Yes, I've run into Cube in Mirage probably like 3 times, once recently. And by the way, we did in fact get the herb from Matoya, so the fetch quest chain continues.
Yeah, I hope you guys like fetch quests, because that's all this seed wants to produce, is fetch quests.
Let's have that turn into a ruby, which turns into a key.
We have the horrible, terrifying, no good news that Lamp is White Mage learnable only. So sad. I know. Best spell in the game, we're probably not going to see it. I mean, when you have Life and Life 2 and Nuke all Red Mage accessible, what else do you need?
That's a great point. I mean, the Red Mage or Red Wizard, when promoted, is going to have most of the essential magic on both sides, so these are probably going to be at least 1 to 2 Red Mages staying on each team throughout all the way to the end of the game.
I would think, at this point, they're just going to decide what they want to be as their primary warrior. Are they going to go with a fighter, which, honestly, we haven't seen much in the way of equipment for fighters yet. Maybe a Black Mage, once they finally get their 12 key items and have the experience boost going. There's a couple possibilities as to what they're going to want, fighter, black belt, maybe a daring ninja play. But it's a question of what they're most comfortable with and where they're going to want to go with it. Because the Red Mages aren't going to carry you alone. You still need someone that can do the high-intensity DPS with a weapon or their fists.
Which could be the Thief.
Could be the Thief. They find a Katana or a Mazmoon, and that Thief is good to go, honestly.
And by the way, I believe we've now exhausted the available incentive location checks now that Dengwu has turned in that herb and received the cube. We have knowledge of the chime in cube, but there's no incentive in Sky. So that TNT was loose, but there's also going to be some more loose progression here in the early sphere of the game.
Depending upon if Titan Trove is incentivized or not, which we won't know until they finally get a ruby and can check it, we could potentially have 2 more loose items in this pool. And that means that 1 or both of them could be floating in Mirage. So it's back to what we were saying. There's always value in always value in Cave Mirage.
Additionally, Deng did a very trim sort of clear through Earth because he was on low level, low resources. We haven't seen the 5 items on the first floor of Earth, nor the 3 behind the trap tile on second floor of Earth.
Yeah, that's the Earth mini treasury is still sitting there, which looks like Caleb may go in and give us a full clear of that if I had to guess, because he's already hit the top spot. As they're pointing out in chat as well, Marsh is on the table, no one's gone there. Can't remember if we have an incentivized location, Marsh. I would bet no, because they didn't check already.
Yeah, the first incentive in Marsh is not a choice this flag set, but Marsh locked will be for once they get a key.
Well, but I'm betting your key is probably over in Mirage. Key or Canoe or both.
Either way, I think that makes for a really interesting seed as far as the pathing and progression. Like, we have a lot of options of where the runners can go to look for loose treasure. We've got Earth, we've got Marsh, we've got Sky, and Mirage and Sky.
All I gotta say is if everyone is wrong and I was right accidentally and there really is a dock over there by the floater spot, everyone's gonna have egg on their face at this point. I'm just saying.
There definitely is no dock. It is confirmed.
I know. Wishful thinking. But yeah, right now they basically are down to doing a full clear of Earth, a full clear of Marsh, aside from the 3 key lock chests, and then, well, it's not even a full clear of Earth, it's just a full clear of the first 3 floors, and then Mirage, and based on chest density, I mean, I can see why Caleb's coming here to Earth, because the enemies are quote-unquote easier, although I tend to have my most struggles here in Earth because of how spread out it is. But, like, bang for your buck as far as getting levels are concerned, and being able to get all kinds of good treasures and everything else, it feels like Mirage is the play.
So Caleb has what will begin that long fetch quest chain that eventually ends in a cube, but it should be a while before we actually see him go there. The chime could end up in Dengwu's lap and send him to Mirage overall a little bit sooner.
It is interesting that they each have one part of access to Mirage, but neither of them have both just yet.
Yeah, it really depends on where Deng sails. If Deng actually goes for the other town, he'll get the chime, and if not, then we might see them converge on Marsh soon.
Smart play there that I always tend to forget. I usually forget that the Earth Elementals are actually, like, susceptible to fire magic. And thankfully they didn't roll too high as far as damage is concerned, so he actually manages to get through that nasty Stinger Earth Elemental fight and clear his way out of there. And I'm thinking he's looking at doing an exit. Yep, there's his exit. He's out. One Fine Day asking in chat what parts are incentivized right now. We did just discuss that, but I honestly even forget half the time. So, the incentive locations for this flag set that will be running for the next 8 weeks or so, and then at the SG Live event when we are in their marathon, are all the main NPCs and all the Fetch Quest NPCs, as you would assume, Ice Cave, Ordeals, Earth Cave, and the locked portion of Marsh, as well as a maybe sitting at Titan Stroke. We're not certain yet because that one is a tri-state flag that we enabled.
Alright, well we have Deng sailing to the last available town here, so good play on his part. He's going to be able to catch up on magic and key items with Caleb.
He'll get that chime. Right now, honestly, from the way things are shaking out, I kind of feel like off second feeds. But it also means that they're gonna have to work this for a little while. And I apologize there for any downtime I may have had. I just lost my stream, had to refresh. Getting confirmation in chat that Cheesenator also lost the stream. He's going to be back here in just a second as well. There's that chime.
I was just adjusting everything.
Yeah, just a quick refresh there, I think, and we will manage to get it back. One Fine Day asking in chat what was banned, thinking it was Spider and BB. No, we actually have Tavern mode equipped right now. Tavern is one of those special beta features that's new to the randomizer. such a great mode. Essentially, all of the clinics have been swapped out with what we call pubs now. And when you go to a pub, you can either revive your character or buy a new class from the 6 available classes that are randomized throughout towns. So what we had originally was a Forest White Mage, and then a White Mage was also sitting at Canaria that you could buy. So Caleb bought 3 and Daegu bought 2. Then over at Elfland, which is sitting at Provoca because our town shuffle is on, we had Red Mages sitting there. That was a lot of fun. And so far we have also found Thieves, and then I don't actually remember what all else we had available. I don't remember seeing what was at the... Oh, Black Mages over at Provoca, which was sitting at Onrak. And the Thieves were in Precedent.
Which means we don't have access to the fighter yet. A fighter would be nice, just of course for being tanky as they are, and also there's a flagon that puts special armor and weapons in the shops, so you can't get the very best tier of gear, but the shops can have things like ice armor, flame armor, ice swords, and so forth, so a fighter would be able to get pretty well equipped if they had one.
If they had the cash. And I think we've already seen flame armor and an ice sword floating around in the shops right now, so that fighter can be quite well equipped.
Honestly, one thing that might make the difference over, say the next half hour to an hour as these two runners are adventuring, if Deng keeps this thief around, there's just going to be fewer long encounters as Deng is able to successfully run and option out of some of the more dangerous or more time-consuming ones. That might be a way to build an incremental advantage over time if we never see one picked up by Caleb.
It's possible. His run ability is better right now if he decides to run. Of course, there's the school of thought that says that right at this point of the game, you should be taking a walking grind, get all the good encounters you can, and stop running from everything, because you've got the ability to take out a lot of them, and what you want right now more than anything is experience. That said, I kind of get the feeling, and I'm sorry to step over you there, I kind of get the feeling that Caleb is going to just straight run a 3-man siege the whole time, because his 4th slot, his empty slot, is still sitting at level 1.
Yeah, so that slot, if you're going to go 3-person strats to funnel, a little bit more experience overall to your party that way, that's really good. You can still catch up that 4th slot in the late game, like pick them up at level 1, do 1 or 2 encounters, say in Topher, and then they're suddenly level 14 or something ridiculous. And at that point you can throw a few pieces of armor on a fighter, or just have someone to take a hit for you from Kraken.
Oh, I certainly don't agree or disagree with having just buying a class at the last moment and then having them there to be your Kraken 2 meat shield. That's a great thing. I just don't think that he's going to have anyone that's going to be anywhere near the levels that the rest of his characters are going to be at. He's working this 3-man grind for all it's worth right now.
Yep. And speaking of our progression and the ability to grind, we've got Deng up in the desert, which means he's checking out Mirage Tower, and Mirage Tower will have a lot of passive experience to get that sort of walking grind you were talking about.
At this point in the game, it's basically he can either go to March or... Oh, there's a ribbon right there, that's right. He can either go to March or to Mirage. And I know so many runners just straight hate March, but even at these levels and without having a good fighter, I can understand not wanting to dive March, because all it takes is one bad ambush encounter, which March is Ambush Cave, and then suddenly you're just stuck grinding there over and over again. You at least expect to get face stomped by the monsters in Mirage, and there's so many good treasure chests here, and they've got the good spells to take out the wizard or the vampires right here. I totally agree with this play.
Yeah, I'd add that it's not, at this point in the game with the levels and magic we have, it's not so much about what's safer, but rather what's the best just opportunity for your time. And there are 10 chests in Marsh, which you do still have to park your boat and walk to get there, so it's not quick. Versus Sky, you could potentially full clear from the bottom up and get 30 plus chests, which is just a massive amount of chances at loose progression as well as better gear.
And something to note right now is the very first 2 encounters that we've seen in Mirage are back-to-back vampire packs. They're a bit beefy, but the vampires are worth a nice amount of experience. Like, if you have any houses at all, this is a great place to just do a quick little bit of grinding while you're doing stuff. Get those early experience points and then start going into Mirage after a save. So we had in chat once upon a day asking about that incentivized Titan Stroke. Titan Stroke can be incentivized. We do have that flag clicked on, but we have it clicked on as a tri-state flag, so we're not certain whether or not it's actually going to be incentivized. That's something for the players to discover after they find the Ruby. I do know they have played 6 matches so far in this Road to SG Live, where they are tied up 3-3, and of those 6 matches, they actually have had Ruby be required twice so far, if I am not mistaken about the facts they gave.
I just saw Deng menuing there, and the second red mage has very little magic. I think he wanted to replace it with a black in Provoca, ended up opting out of it, and only has nuke on that character, not even the Ice 3, so that character hopefully will have a sword to swing around once it runs out of charges, because it won't be nearly as useful as the other mages. He has no houses in inventory, so he was not able to recharge outside.
Well, that Lit 3 hammer is going to make that red mage a little more usable. Plus, he did put the dragon sword that he found on the red mage, on that particular red mage. Short sword on the first red mage, dragon sword on the third one, or the third slot down. Dragon sword's not the best, but that's at least something.
Yeah, the dragon sword's on the thief right now, which makes sense because that's among the best class of swords the thief can equip.
You're right.
Pre-promotion.
He moved around his mages. I thought his second red mage was in the third slot, so thank you for that. And
yeah,
the quick exit.
Go ahead.
No, you're good.
I was going to say, there are a couple of weapons which actually become pretty respectable on the Thief in the flag set we've got. For starters, most Final Fantasy Randomizer seeds play with what's called weapon fixes, which actually returns the functions of elemental advantages of swords against enemies, raising your hit percentage and your damage, your base damage. So Dragon Sword, Rune Sword, Coral Sword have a lot of enemies they're effective against, and you get that boost. Those are the 3 best swords that a Thief can equip before the Maza, which of course any class can equip. And additionally, with the Thief buffs of higher hit percentage growth per level, if you take, say, that Dragon Sword, you could end up getting a lot of hits and potentially a lot of crits just as an unpromoted Thief.
So I note that Ding has been paying attention to the health that vampires have. It looks like they're somewhere in the just above 200 range, so a low nuke roll won't take out all of them. But he's also, of course, naturally, because he already has it, backing up those nuke rolls with that Lit 3 hammer, and between the two, that should finish off any of the vampires he finds, and that's a goodly amount of experience to add on. He burned through his 2 vampire counters, he's now onwards through this Cerberus fight, which is also decent experience, and he's really starting to chunk up those levels quite nicely.
Yeah, and I'm really liking this Lit 3 hammer. We can't really undersell. Lit 3 is one of the best AoEs in the entire game. They can spam it for free from any position, so if a character runs out of charges, or if they just want the Thief to contribute AoE in a sort of a mass AoE spam, they can do that as much as they want.
And despite the fact that we said that Caleb was about 3 or so minutes behind at the time, he's done some massive catch-ups, and he has a house sitting in his inventory, FYI, so he can do some grinding and saving and getting his spells back. But he's now entering into Mirage, and he is hot on Dengwu's heels.
Yep, both runners opted not to go to Marsh Caves, so they're right on the same path, with Deng just having a little bit of an edge in chests opened so far.
And it's worth noting that we've seen a lot of these vampire packs. They seem fairly prevalent. Dengwu, I don't believe, has many of the fire casts that it is available to him, fire 2s. But Caleb did take them, so that's one more spell set that he can use against some of these enemies here that aren't going to be weak to it, or aren't going to be strong to it.
Alright, so Deng's got an option here. He's on the spider floor, the second floor of Sky Castle, which has something of a spider-esque layout. And there are only 1 to 2 chests per room. You kind of have to snake your way around it. I know, mixing my animal metaphors here. You have to snake your way around it. It's not very chest-dense in one spot like Sky 1 or Sky 3, but it looks like he's going to open up 1 or maybe possibly all the boxes. There's some pretty solid encounters on this floor if you have the resources to fight them.
We've got an eye, we've got 3 warriors swinging decent swords against it, one of them actually doing some damage, and that Lit 3 comes in with a hammer, takes it out, 1700 experience. So far, we've seen some decent equipment here. They found a flame shield, an opal shield. That's going to help them out somewhat. And I'm noticing from chat, they're pointing out that the guards in this dungeon have Zap. Zap is awful against your warriors. It's just such a cruel spell.
Yeah, Zap is a relatively high hit chance, especially against warriors that haven't gotten a lot of base magic defense yet, and it's the Time Elemental, which is very difficult to resist, only resisted by the Black Wizard's promotion-locked shirt or by the ribbon.
So Danny, our fabulous tracker, has been keeping track of what all is available in all the towns, so we know what's going on. And we do have a warrior that they're going to be able to use long-term if they decide to level up for it. Gaia, which was sitting at Melman, had the black belt. We still are missing a fighter. Fighter's going to be either at the airship locked Gaia or Lufane, so we're not certain which of those is going to have it. But if they never get that airship to actually function, they can at least use a black belt and not worry about it.
Yeah, it's possible with the open progression layout that the floater is simply never found, and that if we find Oxail, Rod, and Canoe, that we'd be able to kill every fiend and then go to Temple of Fiends Revisited.
We do have the floater, they just can't use it because we're thinking they need the Canoe to get over to where the floater spot is at.
Yeah.
But it could be that Canoe is one of the last things that they get, and they're just, at that point, they're over by Canary and just like, screw it, it's not even worth it now. They may just sail the ship over to Melmond and then sail to Canaria and be done with it, because whatever.
Yep, I've certainly had some very late canoes, on my way to my 3rd or 4th fiend, for example.
Yeah. That said, there are still some key items they are going to need to find before they can finish out this seed. Because they don't have... they're going to have to get Canoe to finish this because it's not entrance shuffle, which I am so used to. Without Canoe, they can't get Floater, but without Canoe, they also can't go to Volcano. So no matter what, they're getting that Floater activated. Because it's just smart business at that point.
Yeah.
We're seeing Caleb following up behind Dangwu as they're working through this. And I'm hoping Dangwu knows about those Zap cards, because, yeah, looks like a lot of running. Doesn't want to deal with it. Good choice.
Well, Deng's also got to
like...
consider his... Oh, go ahead.
No, you're going to say?
I was going to say, Deng's just got to consider his resources. I don't know if he's attempting to go all the way to Tiamat on this specific dive, but if he's going to kill Tiamat, he's going to need a lot of nuke charges, because there's no break in that inventory.
I mean, you said he didn't have houses. He's deep enough in here at this point that I kind of feel like he's not committed to finishing this out. If he doesn't decide to finish this out, that's a lot of wasted time for him to exit, save in some capacity, and then either now or later crawl back up. Like, he doesn't want to cede all of that time to Caleb, and Caleb, having the house, could do this whole dive, do it even if he exits, he can save and come back in here. It's a little waste of time, but he doesn't have to go away from here to get all of his health and magic charges back. Of the two of them, I kind of feel like Ding's in the harder position, but he has to try and finish out this dive now, otherwise he's just wasting time.
Well, yeah, Dengwu definitely made the riskier play, but also forcing your way through the Bridge of Destiny, potentially running into Warmech, and then going into Tiamat with a wide scale. You don't know how high the Tiamat will have rolled. If you don't have like a consistent way to damage or kill Tiamat and you wipe, there goes even more time than if you just pieced out, exited, and said, I'll run up the tower and one-punch Tiamat right before go mode.
Honestly, I'm more concerned about the Warmech right now. With this flag set, I don't think Tiamat is quite as scary as they could be made out to be, especially not at the top of this dungeon. But it does look like Dengwu's exiting. He's walking out. He's decided that he's going to finish out the couple rooms he skipped, and then he is going to clear himself, get to heal 2 staff in the process, and I don't think he's finishing this.
Yeah, I think he was low on his magic resources, and he doesn't have a front line, so to speak. He doesn't have like good armor combined with defensive utility spells that would, keep his party in tip-top shape. He doesn't have wall, so there's a lot of ways that going all the way to Tiamat could go wrong.
Well, and it's also worth noting, I don't think they've picked up Lock 2 on any of their characters, either party. So, it's a great spell to help make whatever they find at the top of the tower, whatever version is there, a strong. It would make them a whole lot easier to kill with the weapons that they have available if they have to go with weapons instead of spells. Obviously, at this level, they want to be able to use as many nukes as they can, but that's a tough. It's tough to do it right now with the spell selection they have and where they're at resources. I can't argue with him walking out. It's just, he's gonna be like.
Look, he picked up a house inside the tower, so he's actually exited, refreshed his resources, and he's gonna take the pretty good item magic he has with the second Cure 4X now and head back up. This I totally agree with.
This is much better, much stronger play at this point. As long as he can get past these zap guards. Dazzle zap guards, no less. Oh, that's lovely. Yeah, I was going to say earlier that the instant death spells don't always hit the monsters. Like, you'll be using late game Bane against the wolves in the early game, and somehow they can resist it. But it somehow feels like, as if you're not wearing a ribbon or have wall up, every nasty instant death spell, especially ones like Zap, are just gonna kill you every time. Someone will cast it, and suddenly all 4 of your party members are down over and over again.
So levels-wise, they've both picked up a lot of experience in here. Deng looks to be up to level 17 average. I'll need to take another look at Caleb's levels here shortly, but Caleb's already got level 21 on his 3 Light Warriors. So they're definitely high enough level to take on Tiamat. They've got an HP pool that can survive some AoE elemental damage, plus there's 1 ribbon in the party, and then 3 casters of Nuke, and a dragon sword-wielding buffed thief. Like, it could get there.
Well, and part of the reason why Caleb is up to level 21 right now is, again, he's got that quote-unquote advantage of only going with 3 party members. So, while Dangu's been rocking 4 party members this whole time and splitting the health among all 4 of them, Caleb has only had his 3, so all the experience is going between the 3 of them and making the levels just a whole lot easier to get.
And we're also probably going to see a little bit of strategic, like in a battle like this, use some Cure 4 axes in order to save resources and get the party back in good shape before heading up to the Bridge of Destiny.
Yeah, everything that Dangu's done at this point is totally understandable. He wanted to save his items. He liked those Cure 2 axes. He wanted to get his resources back. Totally can't debate anything that he's doing. It's a play that makes perfect sense. There was that house that Caleb just got that Dangu got earlier, which made walking out perfectly acceptable. It's just that thing of Caleb is now like right on his heels, and they're both neck and neck here, and when Dangu came in, he was easily 2 floors ahead. So, that's just the danger of that walkout that you have to deal with. So get your Warmech hype going, pray for the Bridge of Destiny, for that robot chicken. We are here right now, looking for that Warmech.
Wait, CC, they didn't leave Sky for last. There was still Marsh available. Marsh has 10 treasures, which is probably where our progression has to be now, since it's the place nobody's checked.
Yeah, and more than likely, progress is sitting in Marsh. I wouldn't say there wasn't value in this dungeon. It's just that the value they were looking for, key item progression, wasn't here. Oh, the airs are unrunnable. That is rough. They don't hit like trucks, but you hate seeing any unrunnables on the bridge, because you only want to have to deal with what you want.
CC Spellzap just reminded me in chat, and I'm seeing on the flag set as well, it's required Warmech. I did not realize that was on. That means this should not have been attempted now. Both players should have full cleared the treasure chests and left this until right before Temple of Fiends.
That's amusing and evil. I'm so delighted.
Oh wow,
So, yeah, there
Warmech
it
didn't
is.
even punch out that red wizard, red mage rather. Red mage survived a hit.
Is it the opal braceleted red mage? Because if it is, that might explain that.
That's true. Also, we could just have a weak Warmech in general. The scaling on bosses can go as low as 40% on any of their stats. But as high as
40%
250.
250 and unclamped. When we did these tests initially, we were doing clamped, and it just made the seed about an hour longer. So for marathon safety, we've decided to unclamp enemies and bosses. That said, this Warmech still has a lot of health, so even if he is punching weakly, because he can't even take out a thief, he still isn't going down very easy.
Yeah, we might have to find an alternative way to kill Tiamat here, because we've used a lot of resources to kill Warmech, but that's a big boost of experience. 2 levels across the board for everyone in Deng's party.
Took him from mid-teens to 20s. That is nothing to scoff at right there. He's going for it, though.
Yeah, he was right at 18 just before that fight.
2 levels apiece, and probably close to 3. That's... Woo. And it's not Tiamat.
Shuffle. This is an easy flag to forget, because as a runner and a commentator, you get so used to seeing specific things, and people making choices based on there'll be a specific fiend at the top of the tower. Well, these fiends have been shuffled, and Kraken has made its way up into the Sky Palace.
I was kind of expecting Lich to be up here because I remembered the flag. I kind of feel like this is worse. Because Kraken, if he wants to be, will just punch the living daylights out of you.
Very possible, but also we have a Lit 3 axe, I want to say, or Lit 3 hammer, and so we've got a consistent way to hit one of Kraken's weaknesses, even if we run out of all of our other magic.
Yeah, and it's not... He doesn't have Brack, because Brack was at level 3, I believe, and he just didn't have the money for it at the time. Bane is good, it just isn't as likely to take out Kraken as Brack is.
By the way, Caleb did not exit to restore all resources before climbing up to do the required Warmech and Fiend following that, and he's probably not going to be able to clear this.
No,
unless he just sits here for a
while. It took just about every nuke cast that Dangwu had to get through this, and he may have to exit after this. Although, I will note the Warmech is actually missing half the time. Unfortunately, he has to use the Cure 4 hammer. Oh, there's that zap! Oh no! And that was the red mage that was actually doing physical damage.
Yeah, this is going to be a reset pretty soon here.
Yeah.
I think...
Ow. That was not what he wanted.
So Deng, on the right side here, has been going for what we call Deng strats, or insta-kill strats, on the Kraken for a while, neglecting to use that Lit 3 hammer, which would have accelerated this fight quite a bit.
Caleb takes a wipe and is leaving. Oh, that hurts. So, whatever spell levels that he had, that he earned from his walking grind, those are gone. The Warmech is back and alive again on his side, and he is going to have to do basically all of that all over again. His low 20s are now back down to 17s.
Well, Caleb left and restocked part way, so did Mirage, left, restocked, came back up. So all Caleb loses is Sky and a handful of levels. Didn't even clear the Warmech, so knowing that there's no progression in there is just going to go moted at the end. And honestly, this fight's taking Deng so long that, you know, maybe this isn't such a bad move from Caleb. But Kraken is finally down on Deng's side.
Now, despite the fact that it was a Kraken there at the top of the tower, that is still going to be the Earth or that orb that lights. I mean, it's a matter of semantics because you gotta light all 4 of them, but that's just worth noting.
And they're basically back on each other's heels, but with Deng having an orblet, that's a probably 4-minute, I want to say, advantage for Deng if everything else stays equal. Later, Caleb will have to just go park there, walk up, take or run from a few encounters before getting through the Warmech and Kraken at a high level.
Yeah, at a full clear pace, like not a full clear, at a quick clear pace, I think Mirage takes about 2 to 3 minutes to go through, especially if he has a fighter that's going to be able to whack through the Warmech and the Kraken with little effort. But that's 3 more minutes that he's going to have to see, so while it seems like he's actually ahead of Dangwu right now, Dang has the crystal, Dang doesn't have to fly back over, Dang doesn't have to take care of those 2 fiends, and the second that he's done with his 3 other fiends, whatever order he gets them taken care of in, he's going to be good to go.
Yeah, so this is the first, really measurable lead we've seen stack up from either runner that is going to last for much longer in the seed, because it's going to come time where Caleb needs that orb, and Deng will already have it.
It's a tough position to be in, and you gotta think that he's sitting there he's feeling like Dangwu probably made the same play, or soon after, and, he's got to feel behind. The only thing he can hope is that somehow Dangwu didn't decide to go there, did March instead, but in that case, Dangwu was making more progress in the different directions, because that would mean he didn't have to have cleared Mars, which we know is the case. One way or another, Caleb just has to feel behind.
Yeah, everything went wrong, no orb was collected, and no progression was collected, so there are 2 outcomes where his opponent got ahead. Got the orb, or just didn't go there in the first place.
So while we're here at the 1 hour mark, I'm going to do a quick little bit of recapping for all of you out there. We're not just going to do the simple recap, things happened, everyone's still playing. We're going to give you a little bit more than that. So when we started off, we had Canaria being, of course, Canaria. There was a Forest White Mage in the party. That was the one party member they got to start with. Tavern mode being on, though, they could go check the various towns and find other party members they could add to their collection. And the first party member to join up with that White Mage was another White Mage. From there, they went over to Provoca and found Elfland, and Provoca Elfland had Red Mages. They then struggled to get a little bit of footing because the walk between Provoca and Canaria was pretty terrible. But when they finally got going, the King had the bottle, and Sarah had the ship. Sailing around, they got down to the Elfland area, and Elfland had Crescent Lake, and the sages there had the Adamant. Adamant then went to the blacksmith and turned in the floater, but unfortunately, due to the way the map edits are done right now, because we're on open progression and not extended open progression, and as you can see from them still using the ship right now, they can't turn that floater in yet, so they've had to keep on searching. They did find where Gaia was. Gaia was over at Melman, which had a black belt sitting in it. Crescent, by the way, only had a thief. While Dangwu did take it, Caleb did not, and I'm wondering whether or not that thief is going to last throughout the rest of the game yet. So, over at Gaia, they turned in that bottle, and that bottle became an opal bracelet, which was lovely, but not progressive. Earth Cave over there, by the way, had the loose TNT on Earth Floor 2, sitting up in the upper right corner. Meanwhile, the Earth Incentivized chest sitting there guarded by the vampire was the loot, which once again wasn't progression just yet, but the TNT led to the... Well, we had the chime sitting at Vic, which they saw when they went over to Onrak, but the TNT turned into the crystal became the herb became the cube, and between the chime and the cube, they went into Mirage and found, as far as progression was concerned, a big fat goose egg. However, Dangwu is the first on the board with killing Kraken at the top of Sky because we have Fiend Shuffle on, which is hilarious. And now we see that the loose canoe is sitting there in March, and Caleb is on his way to go try and turn in that floater.
Yes, just one room away from the actual incentivized chest in Marsh, we had the loose incentive canoe, which had either of these runners gone there early, would have been a huge advantage in travel time, but regardless, that's going to break the seed wide open. We'll be able to visit all remaining towns, start looking through our further off incentives such as ordeals and ice, and get to finding that go mode and clearing the fiends for the end game. But yeah, it's been a long time coming. We're going to be over an hour into the air. Hopefully Deng goes right for Marsh Cave, and No, Deng is going for Earth Cave. Deng left, I want to say, 8 chests here? 8 or 9 chests. So Deng is going to double dip Earth before going to Marsh. This play could actually catch Caleb back up.
It's that thing I was going to comment on, which was the fact that it's interesting to think of a different version of how these two players played it, where one of them went to Mirage, Dangwu, and cleared that one out and got the Fiend, while the other one, Caleb, went and actually found the canoe at Marsh instead of going and doing that round-the-world dive, had the airship, and was off in a different direction, as we see our delightful stage in his cave handing out the Oxyale. It's interesting to think whether or not one side or the other would be, like, faster in that regard, but now certainly that Caleb has the floater, and Daegu was spending time dipping stuff that Caleb did that Daegu skipped, it does feel like Caleb is catching up.
Yeah, that 3 to 4 minute gap we talked about earlier is closing every minute that Deng does not go towards Marsh Cave. So honestly, it's even back up, and I think Caleb will take an advantage, a growing advantage, in the next couple of minutes here.
Well, he has the Oxyale, and he came over here to wherever Onrak was hiding. That Onrak being at Gaia. I wouldn't be surprised if he decides to go in here and do a sea dive. At the very least, he knows that he doesn't have to battle through Kraken at the bottom of it, because Kraken's hiding over in the Sky Tower. This sea dive actually probably feels a lot safer now.
Well, Caleb doesn't know that Kraken is there. Caleb didn't make it past Mormac.
You're right. Maybe he's just banking that the feats are shuffled and that Kraken won't be here.
I mean, yeah, it's a 1 in 4 chance. But Caleb's party is honestly fine to full clear C right now with this mix of gear, levels, and magic. I would probably pick up a fighter, though. There are fighters there, and you could even just pick one up in that 4th slot and like throw a bunch of high-level armor on it that's sitting in your inventory, but I don't know. I'm a fan of taking a full party of 4 in most seeds. Some people would disagree with that.
He's proven he's not averse to doing a walking grind, although bear in mind that I just noticed now, all the rest of his party members are named lowercase after people he knows, whereas the fighter slot that we were talking about is named Goof in all caps. I'm willing to bet that stays dead the whole time. I'd lay odds on that. But yeah, I agree with you. I would put a fighter on that slot if I was rocking the 3-man before this, because honestly, you can get some good walking grind levels off here just from the forced Wisps-a-Hag fights. Isn't a bad thing.
Ooh, and Dengwu is going to check a chest I shall not name by its full name here in Earth Cave, just to see if there was a shot at it being the Elise progression. We'll lovingly call it TFC Earth. It is the most out-of-the-way chest in this dungeon.
That fabulous chest. Glad he's checking it just in case there's something there. Well, he can't, can he? Because he doesn't have the key.
No, TFC only locks... sorry, TFC. The only thing that is colloquially referred to as a TFC that is locked by the key is in the right side of the Sea Shrine.
You had some questions in chat about the icons in the bottom in the tracker. The orange ball, for example, that blew up on both sides. Yes, that is the chime. It is a spell. We do have a different set of icons that I will be passing off to the delightful tracker devs here for Speed Gaming, so that next week, and potentially Sunday for a different marathon we have going on, the icons will be up to date and understandable for all of you.
That's 3 ribbons now. Yeah, I think there was 1 in the top of March, and now Caleb has a ribbon on every main character.
He is stacked and good to go right there. That's some nice armor. I mean, it's not anything that Dengwu probably won't get, because Dengwu has to make all the same checks, but it's still really nice to have that. You gotta feel good about it. Feel less good about that Cure Sword, but feel really good about that ribbon.
Also of note that Caleb has decided to tackle the left side of the Sea Shrine first rather than the right. Left is, of course, required because it leads to a fiend. Right is not incentivized today, but usually if runners aren't in go mode yet and are still looking for more progression that potentially is loose, you could see them go right side, do all those free chests and mermaids, and then head left.
Yeah, it's a fair point. It's something that I know a lot of racers will do. But Mermaids is going to have good stuff. That said, he's not exactly, like, hankering for all the gear that he needs, because he hasn't taken a fighter yet. He may never take a fighter, or a ninja for that matter. And he may just be sitting there going, I'm gonna check those chests afterwards, but I don't need it this dive. Let's just try and use the resources we have, get this taken care of now, and then afterwards deal with the mermaid side if I still feel like I have to go there, which more than likely.
Yeah, we have essentially 50% of a loose item remaining. We found a loose TNT and a loose canoe. That last item might, like, maybe the ruby leads to a key item, maybe it doesn't. Maybe the ruby just leads to tail. We just don't know because of the tri-state flag.
We are still missing that ruby that can lead to nothing. We still need the, if you're wanting to upgrade, which they may not care about, I think Dango cares more than Caleb, we need that tail. Rod is still blocking progression through Earth. Crown could be blocking something at Astros, but we're not sure what. And there's that key and that slab that are both sitting out there, but a lot of these could lead to a progression chain that just goes down a rabbit hole for a ruby that has nothing locked in it. You just don't know.
Yeah, as far as the debate on whether to promote or not, with Fast where it is, you need to either buy a Black Mage or promote these Red Mages to take that into Temple of Fiends. So we'll probably see promotion happening, or people opting into, say, a Black-Black-White configuration or something to get a few offensive buffers, some kind of safety net, and then a Black Belt in the final slot to do Temple of Fiends. But there's a lot of ways you can go from here, though we will probably see either swap to Black or promotion, because Fast in a known place like that is hard to pass up. And we've got Carrie here at the base of the Sea Shrine, so much easier than running into a Kraken. Caleb has already dispatched of her.
Good to say, so fast I didn't even see it. Did he skip mermaids?
Yes, but again, Caleb is 50%, or maybe even more than 50% in go mode. Because if you consider what items remain, tail isn't required, like ruby isn't required, and so on, so that 50% chance that there's one more incentive location not loose is, it's a gamble worth taking.
Yeah, he has Waterfall, he has Ordeals, he has Ice Cave also on the table, all which required canoe and or airship to get to. I guess, it's that thing of he was there, and it doesn't take that long with the hero runs that he's been getting in the dungeons. It just doesn't take that long to get down to mermaids. Like, the chest density was there. Even with, like, only a possibility, I might still have taken that gamble.
But, on the other hand, if you think, the Sky play, he probably thought he was behind from failing to clear Sky, failing to find progression there. So he might be just, cutting as many things as possible, assuming that he'll run into go mode at the remaining incentives, and just give himself a better chance to win.
Well, as Chad is pointing out, we have 3 incentive locations they haven't checked, 4 when you count Marsh after they get the key. So that's 4 items of the pool that are still sitting out there. Shop is 5, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 key items floating out there, plus Muzza and Defense Sword that were both in the pool, because I don't think we've seen either of those. So that's 8 items sitting there and only 5 locations. I kind of feel like, sure, 2 of them might be duds, the tail and the ruby, but I kind of feel like the odds of that.
And by the way, we hadn't checked until just now the Oasis, which has our shop key item, and it is the key, so Caleb will have to remember to fly there before he hits go mode.
It's a gamble. I'm not sure it's a gamble I would have taken, but hey, there it is. Now, you may be noticing that the waterfall looks kind of weird. That's because the waterfall is progressively generated. Procedurally generated. Sorry, wrong keyword. We have proc gen levels that we are slowly starting to implement in the randomizer, and by we, I see the dev team. Right now, the only one that we're using for this marathon is the waterfall, because waterfall has proven to be safe and marathon safe. I have planted seeds where the Earth Cave proc gen levels that we have do not work properly. They have actually rendered in such a way where the door to get out is behind the door, or behind a wall, and you can't actually explore all of Earth Cave, and it just stops you. So, those ones are not implemented right now, but Waterfall is fun and safe, and it allows them to have a fun little dungeon that they may not be expecting.
Yeah, so Dengwu is still checking chests here and finds a ribbon, which means that there are 4 in the seed. Of note, random treasures are on, and so there can be, fewer or greater than the normal amount of any given unique item, and there are 4 ribbons in this seed.
Meanwhile, Caleb has found the Sun Sword, so his red mages have right now he doesn't have everything because he had to lose a couple of swords he found earlier over at Mirage, but still, that's the best sword you're gonna get for that that unconverted red mage right there. Fantastic time.
Alright, we're finally gonna get a trip to Castle of Ordeals on Dengwu's screen. Opts to run from a sandworm, even though that's a pretty good encounter to take, and runs into some frost saber tigers.
Frosted saber tigers. Tony is here, and he's bringing the heat. Or cold, or whatever you want to say.
One teensy tiny note is the way Dengwu pathed there, walking over those rivers in such a fashion in order to get to Ordeals. When you take a step into or out of a river on the overworld in Final Fantasy, it does not advance the encounter table. So anytime that you can, you want to path into and out of rivers as much as possible on your way to and fro, because those are free steps.
Dengwu taking out one of those big mummy packs. Mummies are actually a decent experience, nothing to scoff at. And they're prevalent here in Ordeals. You're not going to get the really big packs that you'll see over in Sky of like the 5 Wiz mummies with the 4 regular mummies. But even here, with just like a couple Wiz mummies sprinkled in, that's some fun experience right there.
By the way,
was that a bust over at Titan?
Yeah, so the ruby from the waterfall is not required, so Caleb knows that there's nothing left loose, and he's good to go.
There you go, then.
Wait. Back up. Hang on. If that location is incentivized, that means there's nothing loose. If it's not, it means there is. Is that right?
And that was an opal shield, which means there is at least one more loose sitting out there. At
That's
least.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, sorry. It's
now, the
hard to wrap
ribbons-
your head around that, just as a...
I know, isn't it great? Oh, the bones have cracked. Oh, that's love. Oh, he's got ribbons. It's not a big deal. But now, because the way it was set up, ribbons which we traditionally have in the incentive pool are not in the incentive pool this time. So the ribbons that we found are not any of the loose items that we're looking for. There's still the strong possibility of at least one more loose being out there.
Yeah, at this point, loose rod is the only thing that can bite us, because we've seen key, loot, oxyel, cube, chime.
Rod. They just need Rod, and wherever Rod is, that's their go mode at this point. But because, yeah, and Slab could lead to Tail, Slab could lead to Maza or Defense, Crown could lead to Maza or Defense or Tail. Yeah, more than likely with the number of locations that we have still, because... What was that Ordeals? Did we see what was that Ordeals? Because he's leaving it now.
Did he already make it through the teleporter maze? Because that was extremely fast. I was waiting to see what Caleb would pull out of the incentive chest in Marsh here.
Looks like Dane got rubbed. Ouch. Well, that's sad. So we don't know what's at. Apparently, we don't know what's at Ordeals because I was
No. Crabcakes is saying that Deng picked up the defense sword, which has been rolled to rub.
Oh, see, was it an A-rub sword?
Oh, an A-rub sword is actually substantially better than a rub sword. A-rub is an AoE protection spell which gives you 3 types of defense. However, with all the ribbons they've collected, it's not that relevant this season.
No, with the items they have and the fact that he was really just hoping for progression, that has to feel like a bit of a slap in the face. But that does take one of our incentive items out of the pool. We're still looking for Maza, Tail, Rod, and Crown. Now, Crown is going to be available to lead them to something in Astos, which is still on the table. We're still looking for whatever is over at Ice Cave. Marsh Block has been checked, presumably, because Caleb was
that's
there.
The slab, and the slab's been translated, so Caleb's taking it down to the Vanilla Lefane.
Okay. So we're going to find out what's here. And basically all we're looking for is Rod or possibly Mazamoon. I don't think he'd complain about either of them. But if it's Rod, he doesn't have to go to Ice Cave unless he wants the Mazamoon. If it's Crown, he has to at least complete that out. And then, or actually, if it's Mazamoon, he has to go figure out what else is available to get that Rod, is essentially where I'm getting at. This is a very complicated seed that's hard to follow. And there's the Crown, so that's another turn, and he can do at least.
So it looks like as far as the following the progression and getting those key item turn-ins and so forth, Deng isn't too far behind Caleb, assuming Melmond and then Lefane are his next moves. So that's maybe, minute and a half of travel time gap, but with Deng's orb lead, it seems like Deng is still in the lead overall.
It's there, but there isn't really an orb lead now, because bear in mind.
Oh, wait. Caleb did the left side of C. That's right. So actually, okay. So maybe Caleb. Yeah, it's hard to call it now. That's a good point. Mm-hmm. I forgot that Caleb was a whole half a dungeon ahead of Deng.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's close enough at this point that I would pretty much say it's anyone's game without being able to judge one way or the other. It's really going to depend, I think, for the most part, upon what kind of party they're going to take into Topher, more than anything else.
Yeah, White Mages would get Fade, that is White Mage locked, but it's at level 5, so there wouldn't be too many charges, so I don't think we're going to see anyone swapping to White, not with the Cure 4 items and the Life 2 at level 1 that we see.
Yeah, about the only thing I can think they do is swap out one of their characters for a Black Mage if they don't find that tail. Get the Fast and the Tempers that they want. Maybe bring a fighter up on their dud slotted map points that they can put a few quick levels on and use them as a meat shield. But this is gonna be certainly Caleb's party is tough to take through in its current form. I'm assuming he's gonna have to swap some of these red mages out for something, because I would be fearful of taking a 3 red mage party and even to a safe Topher.
I had to stop to think for a minute what exactly Dengwu is doing at that town. He was either forgetting that that's not Onrak and thus not the next place to go dive-wise, or he was just getting some supplies before heading into Waterfall.
I think it might have been a little of both. Oh, is Onrak here? Oh, well, let's just move on and go do Waterfall then.
It looked like he just bought 2 stacks of cabins. He was actually very low on cabins before this, so needed to make that pit stop.
Doing the thing that I love doing, which is using your cabins to scum across and then drop a house right outside of the town or the dungeon that you're going to, because the houses in this flag set, with the special fixes that we have on Randomizer, do grant full healing and full magic healing at this point. So you get everything that you need and one quick stop. Does seem like this. I was gonna say
Caleb is making the catch-up play now, so we're gonna have a much better sense of the relative distance between the two of them once Caleb has the sword.
I was just gonna note that it seems like this Cockatrice Mummy pack is very ambushy. I think both of them have gotten jumped by it every time they've wandered across it.
Now, yeah, to point out, Caleb is back in Sky but still with other things to do, other things to discover, other orbs to light, and still with just, level 25 red mages and stuff. So this is still not the optimal way if you're going to go back here just for the orb to finish this dive, right? Like, ideally, you would do your grind, you would have your pre-Topher party prepped, and you would just come through here and blast through the Fiend and the orb. But gonna take on Warmech again with 3 red mages.
It is interesting that he came back here, just because of the fact that he knows what's here, all except for the Fiend at the top. He didn't seem to care about the treasures all that much at all. It's... like, the Warmech is bad, even if it's not hitting hard, it's going to eat up all your resources. Why do it now when you were already gone?
And Dangwu just now getting that information that there's another loose item because there was nothing in the Titan's Trove.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to get our first look into Ice Cave.
Lovely. There's gotta be something there. It may not be something you want, but there's gotta be something there. So it looks like Caleb is trying to encourage Warmech to attack his opal bracelet-wearing top red mage, which the Warmech just doesn't want to do. And then he's using that top red mage as basically a version of a chemist, more or less. He's got the Cure 4 axe, and he's using it every turn to throw on Warmech. Gets through Warmech, gets up his characters up to level 27, 26 area. That is a nice chunk of levels to have. At that point, if he has a good weapon and armor to put on a converted fighter, that fighter's already going to be swinging enough to start taking out some of the endgame fiends.
The palette swap didn't turn out too pretty on Caleb's side here. We've got a green and purple monstrosity of a Kraken.
Like, the bottom half is fine. That top half is pretty noxious, though. So he's got his red mage playing chemist again. But yeah, he's got his red mage playing on top playing chemist again, using that Cure 4 axe for all it's worth, while the others are dumping everything they have that'll actually do damage. And because this Kraken isn't hitting that hard, he rolled low on his scaling. Really not that bad a Kraken, all things considered.
Yep, and that Lit 3 axe getting put to good use there, hitting Kraken right in its weakness.
So I'd probably say that Caleb is, although he seems a minute behind, because Dangwu's already deep into this ice cave doing his exploration, although he keeps getting ambushed by stuff. He also has a 1 crystal advantage at this point.
Yeah, Caleb has a pretty measurable lead. Not measurable as in like a size, an estimate of size, but measurable as in you can measure it, right? It's exactly 1 orb.
1 orb and almost the same amount of progression. Once he gets into Ice Cave, which I'm assuming he's going to next because he's right here. Or not. Okay, Caleb, where are you flying to? Give us the location, buddy. Nope, the other way. Okay, hold on.
He might have not done the crown chain from Astos yet, yeah.
Yeah. So this actually evens up their progression, too. And the Mazamoon. Well, that makes, like, any warrior that he's going to assign it to a whole lot more useful. The one thing is, red mages are not the best at using the Mazamoon. So if you're going to give it to anyone, go get yourself a fighter or a ninja or something. Just someone else. Anyone else.
So, red mages start the game with the 2nd highest base strength of all the light warriors, but then they do not get much the rest of the game. Additionally, like other mages, they only get 2% hit per level, so they're not going to be having a lot of hits. They take till somewhere in their 40s, I think, to get 4 hits on the Maza. So yeah, one of those reds is going to get converted to a fighter, or again, possibly a black belt, depending on Caleb's leveling strategy.
Well, and he's almost to the 30s at this point. It could be that if he, depending upon what he does here, especially with some vanilla Agamas being available, he may decide to just go take that black belt once he gets into the 30s, because he's already ground them up without even trying, basically. Did find a coral sword. Best sword for your thief, because thieves really can't use a whole heck of a lot.
Yeah, Coral and Dragon Sword have identical stats, but there are more enemies in the course of your adventure that are weak to the Coral Sword, but Dragon Sword is good against a handful of bosses and mini-bosses. And here we go! Loose Rod for Caleb puts Caleb in go mode.
And you can see it's a true go mode for him as far as he's concerned. He's not even bothering to check the rest of the chests and the armor, he walked right back out again. So that really means, like, to me, that indicates that he doesn't care about that tail. And if he's gonna take a 4th warrior of some kind, he's gonna take a black belt.
Well, I mean, he doesn't need to care about these chests, right? If he wants tail, he can still go get it, because he'll be able to deduce where it is. It's off of the other incentive, which, of course, we just saw Deng pick up. So, TBD on whether promotion is a good idea and worth the time, but he doesn't need any more random chests.
But the thing is he doesn't have the armor to go with. I don't recall seeing him get, like, the opal or the dragon to go along with it. He got an opal
fast,
shield.
right? Fast is promotion locked for red wizards, unless he switches to a black mage.
Okay, that's fair. I guess we'll table that and see what happens.
Additionally, Temper is at a high level, and yeah. But Deng is promoting, so Deng is either going to rely on a ribbon if he goes with a black belt, or not pick a black belt at all, because promoted in this flag set with Vanilla Magic Dents, promoted black belt will only have 1 MDef per level. We have a question in chat from Drosy1. How does changing jobs work in these settings? Well, you've been doing a great job explaining that tonight, Darkmoon, so why don't you go ahead and take it?
The changing jobs? Oh, it's a very nice little way of doing things here. Each of the towns is going to have a clinic, as you're well aware from the base game. That said, the clinics work just a little differently here than they did in the original game. Instead of having a heart over the door, they're going to say that they are pubs. And these pubs allow you to do one of 2 things. You can either revive your party members that you already have in your group, or you can buy a new party member. When they started, they only got 1 party member. There was 1 forced, and it turned out to be a white mage. And when they went to Canaria, hoping to get something else to make the siege just a little easier, they found another white mage. From there, they found a red mage sitting over at Elfland, which was hiding at Canaria, or not Canaria, Provoca, because we had Town Shuffle on. Elfland, which was actually Crescent Lake, had the Thieves. Melmond had Gaia hiding in it, and that was Black Belts. Crescent was Melmond, so of course, nothing there, because Melmond doesn't have a clinic. Onrak had the Provoca Black Mages, Gaia had the Onrak Fighters, and Lefane had another white mage sitting in. So this was a very white mage intense party. If you want white mages, we've got white mages. Now I want to note something. We have the vanilla magic defense on right now. So actually a unconverted black belt is going to have better magic defense than a converted black belt will.
Yeah, that is to say, because your stats are caught up from level 1 as whatever your current class is, with Master gaining only 1 per level, if you promote and then buy a new character as a Master, they will have terrible magic defense. If you don't promote, buy a Black Belt, they'll have whatever level they should of 4 growth per level, and then if you promote beyond that and gain more levels, they'll only gain 1 per, but at least they'll have a good baseline to start.
Yeah, I feel like with the way that this seed has laid out, and I think we're about to go see him actually go get that fighter that we were talking about. Because I think fighters are here, if I'm not mistaken.
No, this was Black Belt.
Yep. Okay, so that answers that then. I don't think he cares about that tail. If he buys a 4th character, he'll probably buy a Black Mage.
Yeah, and he's got enough ribbons to cover his whole party, so he also wouldn't care, promoted or not, what magic defense anyone has.
No, and it's the thing of the Fiends can scale up to 250, but they're not clamped. So more than likely they're going to roll most of their stats low, because they can go all the way down to 40. And with those stats, a level 30-ish black belt is more than you need for anything that you're going to encounter. Like, I can just, like, the math is just right for just deal with it this way, and then see if you even care about temper and fast. I would, but that may not be in Caleb's plans or not. We'll find out if he decides to go grab that black mage. But this feels faster. Like, buying the black belt and then buying a black mage later still feels faster than bothering to deal with that tail.
All right, it's looking like Deng is maybe thinking about carrying that ninja as his final DPS character. And he's getting a couple copies of Fast on the Red Wizards, so he's looking to be sticking with those. And yeah, sticking Maza on the ninja with that hit percentage is a great idea.
Oh yeah, for the way that he was building his parties with his evened out levels and the way that spells fell, Tail made perfect sense for him, especially once he found it. Like, that just unlocked his party the way he wanted to go. Caleb was in the position that he only had the 3 party members and he still hadn't gotten Tail, and the math of the run at that point just favored him doing it this way instead of bothering with the Tail. Like, it didn't make sense for him at that point.
By the way, we're about to see how our Tiamat actually rolled this seed because we've been through the other 3 fiends, and Tiamat's going to be in the Earth Cave.
I love Fiend Shuffle, and I love the fact that his volcano dive went so quickly. I didn't even see him fight Lich. Like, it just didn't even happen.
Dang it's lost some. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, as Chad is noting, Caleb is up 2 orbs. He's about to get his 4th right here before Dingu even makes it into the next dungeon. And he basically has just about all the leveling he could ever want taken care of. If he does anything, maybe he takes a couple quick fights at Topher, exits, saves, and then he's good to go. Like, he's pretty well set.
Yeah, Deng is also making trips around to buy up spells and things to kind of round out his party, but he still doesn't have knowledge of that rod. He has not yet prioritized Volcano, so he's falling behind, just kind of doing these sort of managerial things with his party.
But with the way his party is set, I kind of feel like he had to. Like, he needs all these spells to make his party really sing the way it needs to. Also worth noting, Caleb went in there, got his One Punch Man queued up, set up a couple Bracks, and One Punch Man didn't have anything that he needed to do, because one Brack came out, Tiamat fell down, and that's all she wrote.
Yeah, the first round of Fiends in this game, all of them have some kind of elemental weakness, which is not present in their revisited forms, and in the case of Tiamat, it's the Poison and Stone element. Poison and Stone somehow ended up on the same element in Final Fantasy. And yeah, Caleb, by the way, this is 1 hour, 36 minutes, and 31 seconds is entering Temple of Fiends Revisited. But just to finish that note, the elemental weakness on Tiamat doubles the chance to hit for Bane and Break. So those are 2 great options for just one-hit KOing the Fiend.
Yeah, Tiamat is highly susceptible to both of them. Kraken, too, to a certain extent. I believe that it's generally preferred that you use Brack on Kraken and Bane on Tiamat. There's just a slight difference in how the 2 hit.
No, it's Break is better on both of them. Break has a higher accuracy than Bane, so it is strictly better on both.
Thank you. That's one of those ones that I always see people buy one or the other for both of them. And yeah, thank you for that. So good knowledge right there. But yeah, I mean, I know that Quake is one of those good spells you can use against Lich. Not that Lich 1 is all that hard to take out, even with just a couple of hits from your swords. Lich is a kitten, honestly. And I know that Lich and Carry can both be taken out by Zap, because I've done that on more than one occasion. It's fun.
Yeah, with all the Fiends prior to Tiamat, their magic defense is relatively low. Carries is the highest there, but they have non-zero or sort of better than 1 in 100 chances of being hit by insta-kill spells. Lich absolutely more so because of his very low magic defense. Even Lich 2 is susceptible to Quake, but Carry has the weakness to the status element, so Carry can be confused, or can be paralyzed, or put to sleep.
Yeah, confused Carry kills, I think, were pretty standard in some of the previous tournaments, just because she could roll hard. You basically had to take vanilla pathing in some of our early tournaments, and if you had confused, that was a good way to just get her to basically, quote-unquote, punch herself, even though I think technically she casts fire on herself, and just watch as she slowly dies.
Yeah. So, of note on this dive for Caleb, Caleb's black belt is not level 32 yet. Probably hoping to take a couple of these sorts of fights to get there, and reach 32 before Kraken, I would hope, because there's just such a big power spike when you go from 6 to 8 hits on the black belt.
But the way he's doing it is smart, because he's basically He's got a One-Punch Man, he's got a Masamune Red Mage who's doing decent damage right now, and he has Cure 4 Axe. So he can strike out with both of them and then heal up afterwards, and not really stress too much about his resources at all. Just burninate his way through it with fists and swords.
In chat, Crabcakes points out that there's no evasion stacking for these parties. Those things were either white mage locked or just not rolled on the item magic that we have in the seed. So there's not going to be a lot of defense. You're going to have to go pretty much all offense when it comes to these fiendry fights.
Thank the lucky stars that you found 4 ribbons, Caleb, because that crack could have set you back hard. I hate seeing instant death spells from the fiends.
Yeah, Crack is a relatively low accuracy, but it's the Earth Elemental, which is hard to resist. You need to either cast a rub or be wearing a ribbon. And that's one of the things in the vanilla Chaos skill list that comes out immediately from Chaos if Chaos just chooses to use a skill first.
Well, that's one of those sucky things about Earth Elemental is, like, we talk about the Dragon Armor, which has fire, ice, and lightning. We talk about some of the other ones. Earth is one of those ones that doesn't have a lot of different things you can buy for protection against it. Because it's Earth Elemental, the Pro Ring isn't going to just automatically protect you from it. It's harsh. It's a harsh element to have to run across. Carrie busting out some Inferno, which with those ribbons doesn't do too much damage. But she had enough health to survive first round of attacks, and we're back in it for the second round.
Yeah, that Inferno actually is the highest damage for a highest damage for an elemental spell in the entire game. And it's in Chaos's vanilla skill list, but easily resisted by ribbons, or white shirts, or ice armors, and so forth.
That Carrie was hitting hard, too. She completely annihilated one, almost annihilated another. Kinda lucky that they both, at least one of them survived, otherwise he probably would have had to reset out of this because he wouldn't have had his mages for the last 3 fights. And with the way that his party is set, he cannot do this without his mages. He needs someone throwing out those Cure 4 Chemist Axes while he's one-punching everything.
Yeah, but at this rate, with Deng having so few orbs lit, Caleb would probably need to wipe more than once in Temple of Fiends in order for Deng to catch up. Because, yes, Caleb's taking some of these fights on the way down, but even doing this twice over, Deng is just so far behind on completed dungeons.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I think it's like 2 Tiamat or worse wipes before Dengwu is able to catch up, because Dengwu is still checking chests too. Not all of them, but he's checking a lot of them, and that's slowly continuing to put him behind right here.
Yeah, he did not prioritize Volcano.
Because we remember, Rod is loose and he doesn't know where it is. So chat is reviled over the ugly Kraken that we're seeing here, this weird, slimy, undead thing. Thankfully, after 2 rounds of attacks, he falls down, and we move on to Tiamat.
Yeah, that's a relatively low HP Kraken. Thankful for Caleb that it wasn't a big high roll.
And I mean, give Caleb credit. These are not the easiest flags, as you can see, with the way the Tavern Shuffle fell and everything. This was a pretty nasty little seed right here at the outset, and the fact that he's already up to Tiamat 2 at 1 minute 40 or 1 hour 42 minutes, that's pretty impressive.
Ooh, high absorb on Tiamat. 5 hits, only went for 47 damage, granted without a crit from the black belt.
Yeah, that crit Masamune managed to do 240 off of, I think, 2 hits. That was a bit better. But high absorb, and it looks like a decent amount of evade too, because they're not getting a ton of hits in. Ouch! And that
Ooh, big nuke coming out. Right before the Cure 4 too.
Yeah, that was bad timing right there. Thankfully, this one comes out a bit better. Thankfully, he gets through it with that Masamune wielder. Gotta bring that black belt back up. But unfortunately, he doesn't get the experience he probably wanted from this to help finish out his black belt. I don't think his black belt's still at 42 yet, or 32. No, it's 29. Not the strongest you want to see this black belt at.
Yeah, and with no stacks of Temper and no Power Bunk, if this Chaos has high Evade and Absorb, this fight could be a struggle.
Even with Lock 2, it's still gonna be a bit tough. And I'm not certain he grabbed Lock 2. We'll have to see. But he's rearranging his guys, he's putting the Cure 4X on his Masamune wielder. Front Red Mage is basically just a meat shield now.
Oh, and no Fast, right. He didn't promote or buy a Black Mage, so there's also no Fast. No Fast, no Temper, no Power Bonk. 6 hits with at least 1 crit in there, got him for 68 from the Black Belt. That's not great.
No, this is... Thankfully, he still has plenty of resources, but this is gonna take some time here.
Ooh, max roll, or not max, but like 8 off of max roll from that nuke, though.
Pretty good. But Nuclear comes out, so Chaos is packing at least a little bit of heat. And he's out of nukes now. That's not what you want to see. And unfortunately, Chaos is elemental protected, so... Yeah, you see that Ice 3 only did 41 damage right there. Bane comes out, thankfully doesn't get through the ribbons and take anyone out. Going out swinging now. 4 hits for 132, 6 hits for 181, crits on both.
Yeah, this will add up. If Chaos isn't one-shotting characters, they've got the health pools to survive this and just kind of chip away 60, 100, 150 damage around. Oh, but a Cure 4 lands after all those nukes have been spent.
Oh no!
So, the implications for this, the way spell lists work in Final Fantasy Randomizer, enemies have a certain number of skills or spells and a certain chance to cast skills or spells versus just attacking. Spell lists are 8 spells long, and progressing through them really depends on what is picked. Is spell picked? Every time spell is picked, that character moves to the next spell in the list. So if Caleb can't get down the last of Chaos's HP before Chaos has cast 7 more spells, that Cure 4 can come around again.
And Chad is saying that they're going to want a crit loop, and that's just something that happens when you have one character in the 3rd or 4th slot. You basically hold A and pray. You can sometimes get the game to lock itself into an AI loop, where Chaos will swipe at you, you'll swipe at him over and over again, do the exact same damage every time. A crit loop is nice. The problem is that he doesn't have any stacks to evade, so a crit loop is probably going to kill him with this decently high evade and absorb Chaos before he can kill the Chaos. Like, I don't think a crit loop is here. He needs to pray he can make it through this Chaos before the next Cure 4 comes out. If another Cure 4 comes out, he doesn't have the damage coming out to take out Chaos. He can't do it.
Yeah, so from here, if the Cure 4 comes out, you probably see Caleb not just reset, but also probably go and either get a few levels or try and get Fast and or Temper. Meanwhile, Dengwu has the Rod and is catching up, is in go mode, and is about to light the 3rd orb. The last orb in Earth Cave doesn't take that long to light, so with Deng's higher prepared party, if we see this failure possible from Caleb, we could see a close match.
Yeah, he has spent a lot of time on here, which is what Dengwu needed. Yeah, this is rough, and just the fact that he needs the levels to make his black belt viable, but the amount of time he's spending to get through here, is he willing to really risk it? Thankfully, Chaos seems to be stuck right now doing his skills instead of his spells. It's what you want to see. Nope.
Ooh, there it is. That's got to be a reset. You'd have to assume, right? You just don't have the firepower to beat that.
Yep, he almost went in again, and then he did it. You need to grind. Go down to the next floor, grind up a bit.
Or just, oh man, isn't going for Fast. Just replace. Oh, he's gonna grind Icy. He's gonna grind here. Yeah, that makes sense.
It's a good spot to grind at. There are some Earth Elementals in here that aren't worth very much, but there's also like the Gur Medusa packs, and I think Gasties or something else. No, this is the Earth Force, so it's like Rock Dolls and other things that can show up. Those are decent experience without a lot of resources used for that.
Yeah, the fights on this floor, this is obviously one of the best. Gur Medusa packs of 6 to 7 of them are just really juicy bundles of experience. There are Mud Goal / Rock Goal fights that can roll out a variety of both of those, which are pretty good experience. Earth Elementals are okay. Here we've got a screen full of just Mud Goals, no Rock Goals. We can also see handful of slightly rarer encounters. I ran into Sorias for the first time ever on this floor yesterday. Not Randomizer, not enemy shuffle. Just found Sorias.
Yeah, I prefer grinding on the first floor in the Temple of Fiends Revisited, because I'll get the worms and the gas fees and the frost fees on that floor, and I feel like the experience there is really solid. This is a decent floor, but I don't feel like, because of these earth elementals that will show up, I don't feel like they're the best experience to be going after.
There aren't gas dragons on the first floor, but there are chimeras, which are still a pretty good fight. Gas dragons are found on the third floor, but it's a toss-up. Just about every floor in Temple of Fiends Revisited has some good amount of experience. Second floor has zombie dragons and frost wolves plus frost giants, so really any way you cut it, as long as you can kill the enemies that you run into, they're all pretty good packs.
We got a question in chat about Dang's levels and how they're looking. Something to bear in mind is that Dang may only be in the mid-20s right now in comparison to Caleb getting up to the 30s, but Dang also has, like, the buff spells and enough wizards to cast everything to keep his ninja alive. It's the case of... he's in a better position even if his level's lower.
By the way, we've got Trance coming out from these trolls. Thankfully, Dengwu is able to run, but Trance, just from anyone, can lock an entire team down. It's a non-elemental spell that's an AoE stun, one of the most dangerous in the whole game.
So we see that Caleb is finally up into like level 29 for all of his characters. I feel like he's ceding a lot of time fighting on this particular floor. I don't know that any grind spot would be better, but still.
Yeah, I mean, it also depends how big did the worms roll, how big did the ice dragons and chimeras roll. I don't recall seeing those exact encounters. Maybe Caleb did and said, you know what, these have too much HP, I need something easier.
And Caleb probably also feels like Dangler was hot on his heels, and so maybe he just is like, this is the only thing that I can think to do at this point. So it's safe enough to do it without it being so dangerous that I'm just going to lose time on a grind.
And that's 4 orbs lit for Dengwu. Takes down Tiamat in the Earth Cave.
So that huge, what, 5-6 minute advantage we were talking about earlier that was maybe 2 wipes, all gone with a single wipe.
Yeah, it depends now. Dengwu might take a little bit more time to do final preparations, and then is he going to grind it all? Is he just going to take his current levels? Because there is a distinct level advantage for Caleb, but a distinct spell advantage for Dengwu.
With the levels he has right now, and the spells he has at his disposal, I kind of feel like I would just go in, if I was Dengwu, and not worry about levels anymore. You take it and you run.
Yeah, pointing out in chat, there's that Tiamat nuke, and if you're not very high leveled and you're carrying a ninja as your melee, then you could actually get full wiped by a nuke. Nobody on that team has 400 or more hit points.
It's a fair point. I think I'd still risk it. Caleb's going back in after exiting. Looks like he's diving down now. If he doesn't have 32 at this point, he may decide that he can walk grind the rest of it to get there. And take it as Badman fight, because of course you are. That's a good experience. It's everything he needs right here.
Though the nukes aren't rolling super high, so... Ooh, and Lit3's not even finishing them off. This might be a fight that's just got a little too much beef to it.
And then Danglu is right behind him. I don't think he's taken the, I don't think he's taking encounters. He's not going for a grind. He's gonna go. He is gonna very quickly pass Caleb here. And Danglu is now officially in the lead.
Yeah, Caleb didn't actually get to 32 on that stop and grind earlier, so still wants a couple encounters.
Just enough to get his that last level he needs, because I think I saw he's 32 right now.
Well,
and
they're
gets the
screen
unrunnable
for screen, but they're on different encounter tables.
Unrunnable Frostwolf Frost Giant. This is actually vanilla unrunnable, if I remember correctly. And it's not a fun pack to have to get just because of how big it is.
Yeah, in the Vanilla Temple of Fiends, many of the encounters are unrunnable, and they have high-level dangerous skills. It's usually easier, almost universally, to go through Temple of Fiends Revisited in the Randomizer.
And yep, this Chimera Jamera pack is also unrunnable. Only thing saving Caleb right now is the fact that Dangwu also got an unrunnable pack.
Chat pointing out one of the skills at the higher tier and the Final Fantasy Randomizer is how fast you menu. It's an important point of saving time. You need to both menu to move characters and equipment around. You need to menu to use heal and pure potions. That adds up, and the faster you press those buttons, the fewer seconds you take.
So Caleb has his 32. He got it here. Bear in mind that if he wipes, he'll have to try and get it again, so that's a few seconds he seeds every time. But he did get his 32, and he's technically a few steps ahead again of Dangwu. So this is a back-and-forth battle.
Yeah, I'm very much on the edge of my seat. There's just simply no way to call this from here. It's unpredictable. We're about to see a bunch of fiend fights with some nuke and some nuclear and some punches.
One punch command comes in, 7 hits, 765. Lich is already powdered undead, and we're moving on to Fire Floor for him. Meanwhile, Dangwu just keeps getting encounter after encounter, which just sucks. I hate it.
At least with the ninja there, you've got like a 93-ish% chance to run at that level, 94 maybe, so gonna reliably be able to get away from everything that's not unrunnable.
But yeah, you can see that this high absorb, high evade carry, high-ish. One Punch Man, who's been doing really solid damage against some of the other things, only was able to do 123 damage to her. So, like, without those buffs, even those high number of hits are only able to do so much. And this is where Dangwu can catch up, because he has the buffing spells that Caleb does not.
Right. Plus, once you've got the ninja going like full throttle as a single target attacker, you can also be using nukes with the other mages.
Mm-hmm. And let's again not discount that run chance. Dangwu has a high run chance because of that ninja. Caleb does not, because black belt and red mages just suck at running.
No, black belts are actually wonderful at running. Black belts, as they level towards the 30s and 40s, are the second highest chance to run in the game. The red mages, however, stay pretty low, and they stay at the second lowest chance to run throughout.
Fair enough. Black belts are always just weird because of the way that their stats all scale based on their level. Stupid Yangs.
Yeah, there's a sweet spot actually right around level 42 or 43 where not only does your black belt spike in offensive power with the 10 hits, but also you peak out on your run chance, because that's the last time that you've gained luck faster than the run formula penalizes you for leveling.
I heard a lot of math come out of your mouth. I wasn't able to follow.
Yeah. And the last bit of run chance trivia is the black mage starts out with the second highest chance to run and then gradually descends throughout the game because the black mage doesn't gain luck really ever, maybe gains luck a couple of times, and then is outpaced by the formula.
Then we readjust this party, and officially we now have two of our teams in the exact same fight. So all of that lead that Caleb had before, completely gone. They are in the same fight, same time, and we get to see how the difference in buffs and spells will make the game.
Ooh, by the way, big punch out there. That Black Mage just took 715 from Kraken.
And another. He needs to keep this third one alive, otherwise he is hosed. Because that Black Mage, that ninja on his own cannot deal with it. Nuclear coming out actually probably has to feel good.
Yeah, I'd take a Nuclear over a punch there any day.
Yeah.
But this is not hitting for much.
Oh! Quad X!
That's horrible. Deng probably just lost this specific dive, even if he wins the fight against Kraken. Yeah.
And Rip Run, he decides to go and try another dive into it, because that one was just not happening. So, he's probably now about 2 minutes behind here. What Caleb needs is to be able to finish this run out.
Yeah, so of note there, Quad X took out a character. You almost never see that this late, partially because of the HP values, but also because Death Protection. You get Death Protection from Pro Rings. Pro Rings are guaranteed to be in vanilla shuffled shops. They're not guaranteed to be in shops with random weapons and armor that are sort of a tier above the base. So there might not have been Pro Rings for sale.
And that's one of those things the Ribbon does not protect. Ribbon is great, but Ribbon
No, it does.
It's
It's Death Element.
Does it?
Ribbon on that character would have protected.
So was that then Quad X through the Ribbon?
No, Quad X cannot hit through a Ribbon.
Okay.
There's a hard, like, yes or no with Quad X and with Stun.
So it was just unlucky there at that point.
Yeah. And Caleb has pulled Chaos again and needs to do enough damage to beat that clock, so here we go.
Looks like he's trying to go all out offensively damage this time. All the nukes, not worrying too much about healing right now. Throw some punches in, but really try and get the nukes to do what they do.
I mean, an alternative strategy here, so this is definitely one way to do it, especially if you're really concerned about time, but an alternative strategy is just to heal, stay in safe HP values, wait out until the Cure 4 comes somewhere in the middle of the spell list, and then at that point, go full in with your nukes.
Yeah. Thankfully that Bane doesn't go through the ribbons, and they're able to continue onwards. I was gonna say, he does need to cure axe that Red Mage up the rest of the way, which he does. Doesn't want an unlucky nuke or nuclear coming out and blowing that one to smithereens, which I think he only has nuclear in his skill list. But yeah, even
unfortunately, due to the high absorb on Chaos, not too much of it, but due to the high absorb, the extra 2 hits from the Black Belt aren't making much of a difference compared to the last time Caleb was doing this fight.
Yeah, he's averaging 80 damage instead of 50, which could make all the difference, but he's wasting a lot of resources. That was what you're talking about right there. He's wasting a lot of resources there. He's now out of nukes on one of his 2 mages, and he barely has any on the other. And I don't feel like this is going to go any better than the previous time.
Ooh, he's even deviating from nuke to break here. This is a 3 and 256, and it does not land.
No, that's risky. He needs more of those 8-hit for 312 damage, like lucky crits. That's what he needs.
Ooh, yeah, that 306 there. Yeah, more of that.
He's up around 1,000 damage so far.
And with our scaling, Chaos can have as high as 5,000 HP.
8 hits for 200, that's still good. Eight hits for 179, I'd even take that with how bad this Chaos has been. He's got enough skills and spells, you can blink off all of that, and that's still fine. 88 damage, there's that nuclear again. But he doesn't have to worry about that affecting his spell list. Boom,
ooh, no crits.
No. That's not what you want right there. Eight hits for 200, that's good, that's good. Another 106 from the Red Mage behind it. It's not the best, but it's workable.
Okay, every time you see a spell come up, you just get a little bit more nervous. There was an Ice 2, so we're progressing through that spell list back towards Cure 4.
Yeah, he wants nuclears and other skills. He does not want to keep seeing these spells come out because That's gonna just drain him of time here. 8 hits for 218. Like, Chaos could be close at this point. I think Fire 2 is what one of the, like, almost before Cure 4.
Ooh, it's temptingly close. Like, we're getting real damage in.
Come on, you can do this, Caleb. One more good hit. That's not it. An 8 hits for 8 damage is not it. 7 hits for 200. Mosman backs up. 4 hits for 4. Come on, guys, come on.
I'm on the edge of my seat.
Yeah!
Ooh.
6 hits for 80. That does it right there. Caleb takes the first of these wins on the road to SG Live. And I see an official SRL time of 2 hours, 4 minutes, 24 seconds. Rafe hates Caleb on Twitter. Caleb has taken this match. Caleb!
Dark Moon! You wanna know how much I'm right now? What was with that early game, man? What you trying to do to us? We're trying to show these flags off how fun they are, and you come in with Force 3 White Mages, no offensive magic, stun touch on everything, unrunnable night. Like, man, that.
What did I tell you? What did I tell you before we even started this? My seeds either roll really nice or are complete trash, and you got the complete trash version.
Yeah, it was. Once I got the Red Mages back to Canaria and realized I didn't have enough money to stay at the inn, and I was like, oh, I'll just take an imp fight, get a little bit of money, burn some fire 2, I'll get like level 3, and imps have stun touch. And I wiped, and I was like, oh my god, I gotta go back?
It was pretty bad.
Oh,
Dengwu was having similar problems. Getting the mages out and leveled with all the magic took a while for both of you, but it was a fun early seed to commentate.
Yeah, Dengwu and I, the whole time we were talking, it's just how tilted we were from the very beginning.
It was rough. It was a rough start, but once you got into it, the seed still didn't like you.
Yeah, I was like, I found the chime on the Pirates, I think it was, and Provoca that I had to sail to Onrak for, and then I was like, all right, if I get the cube, I'm dropping everything, and I'm going to Mirage. I know it's Warmech required, but I've got 3 nuke casters. I might be able to get through it, and then Warmech. And I was like, plus it's a ton of chests. I might be able to find one of the 3 loose items there, the progression, the canoe that I was looking for, and nope, nothing was there. It was the troll Mirage, and wiping on Warmech felt really bad because I knew Dengwu got through because he told me he did, because that's just the kind of competitor that he is.
Okay, so we, I think we were commentating as though there was no crosstalk. I mean, or at least no crosstalk with information about the seed.
Oh, well, I mean, so when Dengwu and I race these flags, we talk to each other. Like, we're in our own voice chat. We're giving each other a hard time. And when we were doing this before, we were on Speed Gaming, folks would come into the multi-stream and watch us and kind of join in on the banter a little bit. But we never like say, oh, it's not like co-op or anything like that. You know, he's just like, around the 130 mark, I was like, you in Topher yet? He's like, no. I was like, you sure? I feel like you're in Topher. You're awfully quiet. He's just like, no, I'm not in Topher. That kind of stuff. So, if anything, I feel like it just adds to the tilt that we're feeling. But
yeah. By the by, since you've been chatting with us here, Deng did beat Tiamat despite the nuke, lifed up his characters, pulled Chaos, and is now getting his first look at this high absorb and potentially cure 4ing Chaos.
Oh, he's got a cure 4. I mean, when Deng could hear that I was tilted in Topher, and
ooh, there it is.
There's that cure 4. Yeah, but the key difference is that he can fast and temper his guys. Hopefully he bought temper, so that at least allows him to buff a little better.
Where was temper?
Level
Temper
7.
was in Gaia.
Oh yeah, I've yet to promote with these flags. So
yeah, you do the same thing I do. When you have red mages, level 7 is just basically, oh, that's a thing I'm not going to bother with.
Yeah.
I was surprised you didn't swap for a black mage at any point if your plan wasn't to promote, since fast was available at level 6.
I thought about it, but with these flags, I really like to run 3-man, and I didn't want to sacrifice a second life caster because you never know which back row character Kraken or Chaos, or not Chaos, but TMS is going to punch out, and then if it happens to punch out my life caster, I'm in trouble. So
Yeah, that's totally valid.
but I believe in Dangwu. I believe he can get this done.
And he just did.
Yeah. Official SRL time of 2 hours, 9 minutes, 17 seconds. I'm sure we'll see him bounce over here in just a little bit.
this was
yes, sir.
It's over.
Okay, so I have to know, you guys have raced a few of these, and you switched to not having clamped bosses after the first 3, which was when Caleb started winning these. So, sorry about that. But, was this of the 4 that you've done so far under the current flag set?
This was the longest one. Usually they're 20 to 30 minutes faster. So I think the slow start definitely contributed, but this was the slowest seed that we've had so far. Definitely the trolliest too. So thank you for that, Dark Moon. I'm pretty sure I asked Danny to roll this seed in.
She was busy. I was here. Sorry.
Yeah, we had the slow early game with the mages and the shuffling back and forth between towns. We had everyone opting out of Marsh and into Sky, unfortunately then vastly delaying the floater exchange, and finally the Temple of Fiends revisited. Both of you wiped at least once.
Yeah. I felt really bad with the War Mech wipe. Like, I thought for sure that was going to be what cost me. And then I was like, just sort of on a whim decided to route it, because I was just going to come back with the black belt to beat up the robot. But I was like, I'm a little bit better leveled. I don't have to check any chests. When I was coming back out of the Lefane check, I was like, let me just knock this out while I'm over here, and it panned out. But I thought for sure that 5 to 10 minutes was going to cost me for sure.
I thought it was an interesting gamble that you made there. You were over you did the left side to take out the boss, and then you didn't go and explore mermaids, despite the fact that there was at least one more loose still sitting out there.
Yeah, I was gambling hard that the loose item was the Masa, and that the crown would have been my progression. So then once I turned in the crown and got that Moss Moon, I was like, my heart sank, and I was like, oh no, I've orphaned so many chests. Like, well, I have to go to Volcano. Let me go to Volcano. There's good chest density there, and lo and behold, in the armory was the rod, and I was able to just beat feet, get down there, and beat up Lich in the Volcano.
Yeah, having a loose item in the Volcano armory is one of the freest places in the entire game, so quite a lucky break there.
Yeah, I heard.
Yeah, it did work out for you. That was the point where chat was like, "Oh, this is Caleb's game to lose now."
Yeah. Oh yeah, I did my best to lose it. With if I had wiped on Chaos again, I don't know what I would have done. I mean, I would have lost, but because backing out at that point and buying a black mage and digging up fast and temper, it would have just been a nightmare. If anything, I probably would have gone to Volcano and done a solo black belt grind to 42, but yeah,
even then, with that chaos, the way he was defended.
Yeah, I mean, but with the increased crit rate on the 42 black belt and having 2 more hits, I mean, because all eight of my hits were landing, it's just they weren't doing any damage, so I would have likely got to burn through them a little bit quicker.
So, Dang, any other thoughts on the seed from you?
Oh, I had such a good thing going, and I somehow got myself all turned around, made every bad decision, redove Earth, did this, did that, and I'm like, and then he goes, "Oh, I'm flying." I'm like, "Oh, well, I'm not. I'm still shipping around in this ship."
Stupid Marsh.
Yeah, the redive of Earth was when we felt like, oh no, like Dang has lost his way.
Oh no, you back into Earth?
I went back in there. I orphaned the south chests where the earth tile is, and I didn't do the first floor, so I had to go back through. And the that one trap or that one tile in vamp floor.
Did you find the 3 ribbons at least?
I did.
I think he was up to 4.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Wait, did you find a ribbon in Marsh Cave, or was I misremembering you finding the one in Cardia Islands?
I had 3. I know that for sure.
I didn't go to Cardia. So
Okay, so there were 4 ribbons at least in this seed because it's random treasure.
yeah. I got the one. I know I got the one out of the top of Marsh, which would have been the far left on the Marsh middle floor. Link chest, but I don't remember where the other 2 came from. But I was happy to find them.
I'm sure. So, any other thoughts on the seed? Anything that you don't want to see again? Like, you don't want me to run the seed again next time.
Oh, you can roll the seed again, man. I mean, I'm not. It was. Ian, I won. I can't knock the seed too much, man.
It was an entertaining one. It's crazy to think of how much doing, like, after that Sky play, I thought about going to Marsh. I said, no, I, for some reason, think that Earth is where this is at.
Mm-hmm.
And then it didn't plan out. And then I did all of Ordeals, which led to nothing. That was great.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, I didn't go there.
Yeah, the A-Rub sword was your reward for that.
Yeah, which then I forgot that A-Rub sword was there. I don't know. So yeah, that was just bad. I was like, okay, well.
Well, there are plenty of matches still for you to catch back up on. Caleb only has a one-win lead at this point.
I have a thing called momentum, Dark Moon.
4 in a row. I was
yes, as we know it in sports.
He took my SRL points. I'm going to take them back.
In the words of Lord Fizzleby, speed and power, but this time, Dangwu, I have direction too. So, and it's ahead of you.
Oh my goodness.
Great. All right. So, any final thoughts before we, start wrapping all this up?
No, thank you, Dark Moon. Thank you, Cheese, for doing the commentary. Thank you, Danny, for doing the tracking. Speed Gaming for hosting us. This is super awesome. It's really exciting. I told Dangwu when we're getting ready to get started that I'm like nervous. It's like we're racing under the lights again. And it's been a lot of fun racing with Dangwu. I'm looking forward to next week, man. GG, Dangwu.
Oh, I am looking forward to it too. I really am. It was a lot of fun. I hope the fans enjoyed it. It wasn't nearly as quick as we've been doing it, but that's what happens when it's a Dark Moon rolled seed there. So really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
White mage with life too. Like, what am I supposed to do with this? And everything rolls expensive.
Yep. Go back and listen to the seed at the start, because it's like I see the white mage and I laugh, because that's just the Force white mage was funny. But then you get the second white mage there at the tavern, and my evil cackle was just so sorry. Sorry, not sorry.
And then I made the trip all the way over to the thing. I got the red mage, which happened to be very expensive, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So then I make my trip. I save it. Somehow I saved it. And then I make my trip. I go all the way back to Canaria. Bane is 83 gold or something, so I can't buy that, or however expensive that was. So then I reset back to Provoca, and I marched my way up to Matoya, and there's money there, thankfully. So I'm able to buy Bane and stuff, and I was like, okay, I got the lead. We're good. And then it just went all downhill from there. No!
Yeah, you both had to get the gold from Matoya in order to get going, because you weren't able to beat any of the imps on your own.
Yeah.
I'm honestly glad there was gold there, because I'm not sure what you guys would have done if there hadn't been any money.
Well, you trek it out to Temple of Fiends or to Dwarves. Dwarves didn't have any money, though. It had an iron gauntlet and a cabin.
Yeah.
Even the inns were expensive. Oh my god, everything was expensive in that thing. The gold ribbons were like 65k.
Never
Yeah, there was a reminder early of the lessons of, like, when you're using, especially tavern mode, you need to be very conscious of your starting money and make sure you get a save in somewhere.
Yep.
And then I thought it'd be slick, and I talked to the king, and he's just like, "Here's a bottle." I'm like, "I can't sell this, sir."
What am I supposed to do with this?
Yeah, what am I supposed to do with this?
Well, it's been a delight to watch you guys. It's been a great run. I am very pleased. Cheese, you got anything else for us?
Yeah, I want to run these flags with y'all when you're not having one of your rivalry matches. These look great.
They're a ton of fun, man.
Sure. Always up for it.
I think that it's also worth noting that the tri-state flag for the Titans this week did not pan out.
Yes. It's panned out twice so far for you guys?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Well, flip that coin a few more times. Once the sample size is large enough, it'll be about 50-50.
I thought for sure it would have made my waterfall play pay off, but it did not. Inshallah.
Let me tell you, I'm really glad that after Warmack, Kraken was there, because at least my Bane missed 7 times.
And you had a lit 3 caster item, so that's pretty efficient for getting through Kraken.
Yeah, the +1 Thor's hammer.
I think I actually forgot about it because it was on my Bane caster. My Bane caster kept casting Bane and missing. I was like, oh, eventually it's gonna hit. No.
The fact that I had 2 Lightning 3 hammers helped out a ton for me, so I was incredibly grateful to find them. Less so to find the Cure sword. That was definitely the
Now, where would everyone have been without double Cure 4 axes in this seed?
I only had the 1 because I wiped out of the 1 in Sky. So
I had 2. Let me tell you, they put in work. Right before the encounter on Carrie's floor, well, the old Carrie's floor, I had to take an encounter just to heal up because I didn't want to waste time to use my heal potions.
Mhm.
Cure 4 items are some of the best casting items in this randomized game. They are a lifesaver.
Oh, I would argue that they are definitely the best that you could find, especially with the 3-man party, because it allows me to clear fights or run and then have one person do the Cure 4, and it saves me menuing of doing heal pots and Temple of Fiends and stuff. So
yeah,
I was
the thing
definitely
about Cure 4, it's so much better at what it specifically does than all the alternatives. It a full heal plus status in battle versus Cure 3 is what, 90 HP?
90-ish, yeah.
And versus nuke staffs, fade staffs, whatever, those are good, but there are other AoEs. You're going to have redundancy for those things. Cure 4 is a very unique effect.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I should mention in my epic battle against Kraken, I know we're trying to end this here, but in my epic battle against Kraken, I was like, oh, she's not one-shotting any of my people. And then as I got progressively into the fight, she's like, let me cast fast real quick. I'm like, well, there goes my Cure 4 axe is completely useless when you one-shot my guys.
I will say, naming my empty character slot Goof for the Goof Troop race that was on before us felt a little apropos when we got started, because oh man, dang woo, I done goofed. Why are we doing this?
Mistakes were made, but thanks once again, everybody. I hope everybody enjoyed it. I'm sure, yeah. So thank you.
It was a lot of fun.
Thank you to Speed Gaming for hosting us. Thank you to Danny, our tracker. Thank you for Trenton for doing the restream setup and work here. It's been wonderful. Happy to commentate with you, Dark Moon, as well.
It's been a lot of fun. Cheese, really happy to have you here. Make sure you follow our runners, Rafe Hates Caleb and Dangwoo. You can get their information over in the chat window. Follow, of course, our tracker, Danny, both of us commentators, and make sure you give Speed Gaming a follow if you haven't already. And then we will see you here again next week, same time, maybe the same channel. I don't know. They'll tell us where we're going next time. But also keep an eye out for this weekend. We are going to be running the Final Fantasy Randomizer community, the one-day relay race, 3 stages starting at 2 o'clock, I believe, as we work our way through the history of the randomizer in seed form. That is going to be a whole lot of fun.